justice for all.
Thank you. And could we have the roll call, please?
Absolutely. Don't mind me. I'm a little out of breath. Vincent Ringhayden, District 1.
Present.
Richard Way, District 2.
Present.
Robert Scaliotti, District 3.
Present.
Robert Gibson, District 4.
Present.
Bobby Thomason, District 5. Present. All commissioners are present.
Thank you. And we have department announcements, which is going to include project applications. And I just want to mention, for the sake of the public, that you're going to hear about some applications that involve the so-called builder's remedy. And I know there's been a lot of talk in the press as well as on social media about builder's remedy and what it is and what it isn't. And by point of clarification, basically, it allows a builder to get around certain zoning regulations. It is not a blanket, build anything wherever you want. And these applications, even if they're under the builder's remedy, are still subject to CEQA. They're still subject to the whole EIR process if an EIR is required. So it's not total carte blanche. So just keep that in mind as you hear about these applications. So please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, for the introduction. Ariel Goodspeed, Principal Planner for the county. I will be going through the recent planning applications. Some are new discretionary applications, and some include preliminary applications. The first one is a minor subdivision. The proposed project is County File PLN 250045. The APN is 022-250-007. The name of the application is Brigantino Minor Subdivision. It was submitted June 13th. The proposed project is to subdivide into 3 lots. Lot 1 would be 5.1 acres. Lot 2 would be 5.11 acres. And Lot 3 would be 25.73 acres. The following application is a preliminary application for builder's remedy. It is County File PLN 250054 McDowell at 9644 Bettabell Road. The proposed project plans to use builder's remedy to provide 280 multifamily units and 1 community building on approximately 23.02 acres of existing undeveloped land. 45 of the units will be dedicated to very low-income housing, and 12 of the units will be dedicated for low-income housing. The Development Review Committee was scheduled on last Thursday, the 14th, and we are wrapping up the county's comment letter back to the applicant and should have that within the week. The next application, County File PLN 250064, located at 3586 Airline Highway. The proposed project, it was submitted back on July 26, and the proposed project proposes constructing 88 townhome units and 7 single-family homes, totaling 95 residential units. The townhomes will be built across multiple parcels in 2 phases. Phase 1, including 76 units, and Phase 2, adding 12 more townhomes, along with single-family homes. The development will also include new private streets, open space parcels, and associated site infrastructure. The following major subdivision application, County File PLN 250058, called The Ranch, located at 3219 Old San Juan Highway, Hollister Highway. The subdivision was submitted on July 25th, 2025. It was previously a preliminary application under Builder's Remedy. This is a Builder's Remedy full entitlement application or discretionary application. The proposed project will subdivide into 93 lots. The lots range from 4,802 square feet to 9,559 square feet, with an average size of around 18,056 square feet. It's located approximately 7 miles southwest of the Hollister Municipal Airport. The following conditional use permit, County File PLN 250067, Aluminum Hybrid LLC, located at San Felipe Road. The project It was submitted on August 6, 2025. It is a 945 acre solar and battery storage facility in San Benito County, generating up to 110 megawatts of power with 8 hours of storage. It will operate daily during daylight, employ about 10 full-time and 5 part-time workers, and include on-site operations and buildings. Hazardous materials will be managed per regulations, and after about 40 years, the equipment will be removed and the site restored. And that concludes the recent and discretionary and preliminary applications for this evening. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm told that we have some public comment on the applications.
Yes, Lauren Cyphers, please approach the podium. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, commissioners and county staff. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this matter. My name is Lauren Cyphers. I'm one of the developers of the Allium Solar and Storage Project. This project represents a smart approach to land use, especially as the county faces growing pressure from residential and commercial development. It's not a choice between solar panels and crops or productive ag land. This land was strategically selected for its limited
Recording in progress.
agricultural potential, with much of it being unsuitable for traditional farming because of either parasitic weeds or poor soils. The project is designed for minimal water needs, using less than 2% of the water required by a comparable almond orchard. We anticipate 150 to 200 local union construction jobs, plus ongoing operational roles. The project will generate millions of dollars in property and sales tax revenue for San Benito County over its lifetime, all while placing little to no new burden on your public services and not generating any increase in long-term traffic or population. Because the land is leased, at the end of the project's life, the site will be fully restored for agricultural use. California has deployed nearly 16,000 megawatts of energy storage, including 214 utility-scale facilities. While a few incidents of overheating or thermal runaway have occurred in California since 2021, they represent rarities and have resulted in no direct injuries or damage to structures beyond the storage facilities themselves. These numbers demonstrate that communities and utilities statewide are confidently and safely integrating these systems using modern safety standards. Good solar and energy storage projects like Allium are critical for the stability of the California electrical grid and to meet both state and county goals for greenhouse gas emission reduction. The Allium Solar and Storage Project is a good project sited on the right piece of land and is expecting to provide significant economic and community benefits over its lifetime without putting strain on local services. Thank you.
Thank you. I do note that this is not on our, oh. Sorry. Zoom has no audio. Okay, one moment. Right. Yeah, okay. Okay, can anybody on Zoom hear us at this point? Yeah. Yeah, raise your hand on Zoom if you can hear us. Somebody on Zoom, raise your hand. Somebody on Zoom who cannot lip read, raise your hand. Yeah, if you can type into chat that we're going to continue the meeting without, you can't? No. Oh, okay. All right, well, we're just going to have to proceed, unfortunately. And I do note with respect to the Allium project that since that is not on the agenda for discussion today, we're not able to discuss it amongst ourselves or comment upon the comments that were just made by the applicant, but it will come back to us for an agenda item at some point, I presume. Not really, it's not on the agenda for tonight, so, well, actually, I take it back. We're about to move into the public comment segment of tonight's agenda, during which the public will be able to comment on things that are within the purview of the Planning Commission but are not on tonight's agenda, and therefore this would be one of those things. So yes, you will have the opportunity to comment on it in that regard. So yes, you may. So, yes, please. Yeah. Okay, all right, well, from a procedural standpoint, I guess it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, so yeah. Yeah, sure, please go ahead. Yeah, so yeah, let's go ahead and just open up general public comment. And so if you have a comment on items that are within the purview of the Planning Commission but not on tonight's agenda, hopefully you've already provided your comment card to the clerk. If not, then do so at this point, and you'll be provided with 3 minutes to address the commission. Sorry? Yes, please.
All right, Maureen Nelson, just go ahead and approach the podium. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, commissioners, staff. Thank you for the opportunity. So I just had to get up here and comment about this solar farm. Although I think that clean energy is wonderful, and I think we need to look at ways that reducing what we're consuming. I have just some nitpicky things. When you start comparing the amount of water to an almond orchards are the most consuming of water use in the agricultural field. We do not have almond orchards in San Benito County. So although I appreciate that comparison, it's fictitious for what we're doing here. Compare it to the water usage of our agricultural, our housing. Make it conducive to us, not almond orchards that are down in Southern California. So that's number one. Let's talk about the recent fires at Moss Landing. They didn't know how to put the fires out. The fire department didn't know how to put the fires out with the chemicals that are there. This is an issue. This is a real problem. So if we're looking at battery storage, we're looking at that, we really need to make sure that the infrastructure, the knowledge, the opportunities to abate issues are readily available. We don't want to be sitting there going, what do we do now? Oh my goodness. We can't put water on it. That does nothing. We can't put people near it. It's toxic. We need to think about this thoroughly before we start looking at this very large scale. The next question I'd have is, would those energy resources be brought into San Benito for San Benito County residents, businesses for usage of energy here? Or will it be like the others that we have that go out of county? We just have the environmental impacts of them. These are just things that I'd like to have a question about and hope that we all look at that a little closer. It's a great idea. It's wonderful to look at environmental avenues and other resources, but let's thoroughly think it out so that we know what the potential issues may be and risks to our county. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Pedro Ibarra, please approach the podium. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Pedro Ibarra. The reason why I'm here is because we own about 160 acres in front of Fraser Air Park on Fraser Lake Road, and we applied for a cannabis application. And the Public Works Division is requesting 60-foot wide from our property, which is approximately 1,680 feet, a little bit over a quarter mile, to designate to widen the road, so our cannabis application can be approved. But it also says that the commission, this planning commission, can also defer or waive that requirement. And I'm just here to address it. Hopefully we could waive it, that requirement, to allow our application to proceed to the next step, if it's okay.
I think the process to do that, we can't do that from the podium, right? I mean, we have to do that more formally.
Correct. Yeah, you can't do it at this stage. This is just general public comment, and you'd have to wait until your project actually came before this body.
I do apologize. I'm going to step in here because I'm the planner on this project. It will not come before this body. It is a ministerial project because it is
I see. Okay.
it is an approved use in his zoning district.
If a condition is to be amended, you can bring it to the planning commission.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there additional general public comment?
I have no more public comment cards in chambers and I have no hands via Zoom.
Okay, thank you. That brings us to our consent agenda, which consists of approving the certificate of posting and approving the draft planning commission minutes from the meeting of June 18th, which hopefully we've all had a chance to review. Is there a motion to approve? Well, first of all, does anybody want to pull anything from the consent agenda, either a commissioner or perhaps a member of the public? No. Okay, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay, the consent agenda is approved 5-0. Moving on into the public hearing, item 7.1. Hold a public hearing, consider adopting a resolution regarding the Russell Minor Subdivision at Comstock Road. Apparently, there was a request for bonding for construction of improvements. The state law no longer allows bonding, and the proposal is to have an escrow account in lieu of bonding. And I guess we're going to hear about that now, so please proceed. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. I'm Jonathan Lewis, Associate Planner, San Benito County. And this evening I'll be presenting PLN 250043, an amendment to PLN 220004, minor subdivision at 1175 Comstock Road, which was approved on August 21st, 2024. Just to recap, this site is approximately 8 miles northeast of downtown Hollister, within the unincorporated San Benito County. It's positioned around 1 mile to the east of the intersection of Fairview Road and Comstock Road. The project is located in a rural area. It's surrounded mostly by agricultural land uses and some rural housing in the vicinity. The approved project subdivided an existing 38.93 acres into 4 lots of 3 5-acre parcels and a 23.57 acre parcel. There were 3 new dwelling units proposed on the 5-acre lots. This image shows the project site facing east from the southern boundary of parcel 4. This image shows the project site entrance from Comstock Road at the north end of parcel 1. The purpose for this amendment is that the original conditions of approval, numbers 25, 26, and 33, required a surety bond for necessary improvements. Due to changes in industry practices and financial regulations, individual applicants can no longer secure surety bonds. So the proposed change will align with current financial standards as is legally permissible under Government Code Section 66499. And the use of an escrow account maintains financial accountability and enforcement capability for the county, providing a practical compliance path for applicants. The project itself remains unchanged in design, density, layout, or scope of improvements. So this slide shows the changes to condition 25. The red highlighted text indicates on top the existing text to be changed, and the changes proposed are in the red text under the amended condition section. I'll give you guys a second to look at those. Okay, and this slide, again, this is just the changes to condition 26, and the red highlighted text is the text to be changed, and the proposed changes are in the red text under the amended condition section. Okay, and this is condition 33. And again, red text is the existing text to be changed, and the changes proposed are in the red text under the amended condition. Okay, staff recommends that the planning commission review the staff report and resolution, conduct a public hearing, consider any testimony, and approve the amendments to conditions of approval numbers 25, 26, and 33 as set forth in the amended resolution. Any questions?
Questions for Jonathan? Okay, are there questions or issues from the public comment on this item?
Yes, Matt Kelly, please approach the podium. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, staff. I'm Matt Kelly, engineer for the applicant, and I really don't have much to say. I think it's pretty clear what he's asking for, and we appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional public comment?
I have no more public comment in chambers, and I don't have any hands on Zoom.
Okay, discussion within the commission? I did have one item on our page 39, which is part of the resolution. If we were to approve this, there is a typo, I believe. It says that whereas on August 8th, we held a duly noticed public meeting, I believe it should say on August 20th, we held a duly noticed public hearing. So if we were to vote on this, I think we should vote on it with the correction to the typo. If that's okay with everybody.
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Okay, I guess we should do a roll call on this. Can we do a roll call?
Absolutely, Vincent Ringhayden,
Yes.
Richard Way,
Yes?
Robert Scaliotti,
Yes.
Robert Gibson,
Yes.
Bobby Thomason. That's a 5-0 in favor.
Thank you. So motion passes. And moving on to item 7.2. Sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained tonight. Don't say it. 7.2, hold a public hearing to consider adopting a resolution to approve Siler tentative map subdividing 100 acres into 2 parcels of 20 and 79. I'm rounding here. At 7265 Fairview Road. And can we have the staff report on that, please?
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Jonathan Levis, Associate Planner. I'll be presenting PLN 250016, minor subdivision at 9265 Fairview Road. So our discussion tonight is going to cover the project location, conditions, description, CEQA, land use consistency, and then staff recommendations. So the site is approximately 7 miles north of downtown Hollister, about a half mile west of the intersection of Fairview Road and Highway 156. It's located in a rural area surrounded by mostly agricultural land uses and some rural residences. And then the subdivision proposes dividing the existing 100-acre parcel into 2 lots of 79.30 acres and 20.16 acres with a 0.43 acre road dedication. The applicant also proposes to deed restrict parcel 1 so that it cannot be, so that it can be a permanent agricultural preserve or be restricted to only agricultural use in perpetuity. The image on screen shows an overview of the parcel map as submitted. Site has 2 residences, 2 ADUs, accessory buildings for agriculture, septic systems, and 2 wells for domestic water and blue valve as well. The image on screen shows a close-up of parcel 2 with the main residence and ADU shown in the northwest corner of the parcel. And this slide shows a close-up of parcel 1, which has a main residence, ADU, and accessory structures for agriculture. And this is the parcel that will also be deed restricted as an agricultural preserve and or use again, that will stay with the land. This image shows the project site looking north towards Pacheco Creek from the middle of parcel 2. This image shows the project site facing east towards the Diablo Range from the middle of parcel 2. This image shows the project site looking west towards Dunville from the middle of parcel 2. And this image shows the project site looking southwest towards Hollister from the middle of parcel 2. And then this is a A general plan zoning and for under the general plan, sorry. So the purpose of that is for the designation is to uphold agricultural productivity, particularly on prime farmland encompassing various productive land types such as crops, vineyards, and grazing areas. This designation permits agricultural support uses, essential facilities, and one primary resident unit per lot, all in aid of preserving agricultural viability. The intent of the AP zoning is to facilitate diverse agricultural activities as articulated in the general plan, which includes supporting agriculture-related activities like vineyards, wineries, and associated uses. Additionally, it allows for limited low-density residential development while prioritizing the preservation of prime farmland. This project is consistent with both its general plan and zoning designations. Some general plan policies of note that this project is consistent with are General Plan Policy LU 3.2. This is agricultural integrity and flexibility. This policy directs the county to protect the integrity of existing agricultural resources and provide both flexibility and economic viability for farming and ranching operations. The project proposes large lots of 20.16 acres and 79.30 acres respectively, which still allow for the existing agricultural operations to continue. Furthermore, the site remains commercially viable for existing agriculture while retaining enough lot area to qualify as an agricultural preserve under San Benito County Code Chapter 19.01. It would meet the Williamson Act standards for property tax benefits, though the property is not actually in the Williamson Act. And then as stated earlier, this proposal primarily revolves around delineating new property boundaries and does not include plans for new construction. The current zoning regulations already allow for nearly the same level of land use as what could occur with or without the subdivision. It is also worth noting that parcel 1 will be deed restricted to remain as an agricultural preserve or only agricultural use permanently. The project qualifies for an exemption under the California Environmental Quality Act based on state CEQA guidelines, section 15061. It assures that the proposed subdivision will not significantly impact the environment. No ground disturbance or construction activities are proposed, and the project will not disrupt ecologically sensitive areas. The existing zoning regulations already permit similar land use activities. The project additionally qualifies for a CEQA Class 1 categorical exemption as it involves maintenance, repair, or minor alteration of existing infrastructure without expanding current use. Additionally, the project qualifies for Class 4 categorical exemption as required improvements will occur on slopes less than 10% with no impact on trees, fault zones, or protected wetlands. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission review the staff report, review the attached draft resolution, including findings and conditions of approval, receive public comment, adopt the resolution, including findings to approve minor subdivision, parcel map, PLN 250016, subject to the conditions of approval found in the resolution. Any questions?
Thank you. Questions from the commission for staff? All right, let's open up for public comment. Is there public comment on this issue?
Yes, Matt Kelly, please approach the podium. You'll have 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah, if he's the applicant, he can have more than 3 minutes.
Thank you. I am Matt Kelly, and I'm here today as the engineer representing Mr. and Mrs. Seiler. I want to start by thanking Jonathan for his hard work on this project and for his insightful presentation. I want everybody to know I will miss him dearly. As he just told me, he's leaving the county to go to Gilroy for very good reasons. My comments today focus on the application of the Nexus law to the proposed conditions. As you may know, Nexus law is foundational in land use and development practices, ensuring fairness and preventing abuse of power. It requires a clear and justifiable connection between development projects and any imposed fees or conditions. This principle is rooted in landmark U.S. Supreme Court cases such as Nolan versus California Coastal Commission, 1987, which ruled against conditioning a permit without a direct connection to harm caused by the development, and Dolan versus City of Tigard, 1994, which required an individualized determination that conditions are related in nature and extent to the proposed impact. California has adopted this law in its constitution found in Government Code Title VII, Planning and Land Use. On behalf of the Seilers, I respectfully request that the commission waive conditions 27 through 38. We believe there is no reasonable relationship between these conditions and the project currently before you. Furthermore, I must express my disagreement if the commission considers deferring these conditions. Deferral implies that the conditions are not warranted at this time, but might be in the future. However, there is no evidence or findings presented that would justify such a conclusion. According to Nexus law, conditions should only be placed on a project when there is a clear and justifiable connection to its impacts. Thank you for your time and consideration of this matter. Mr. and Mrs. Seiler are also present and would like to address the commission.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Barbara Seiler, and I'm requesting this split mainly because for two reasons. Oh dear. Two reasons. We're getting older, and I'd like to give that 20 acres, 20 plus acres to our daughter. So she will not be impacted with taxes at the end. So we thought it's time to give the parcel to her that has the house on so that we can all enjoy life without, stressing that, when they inherit, the children inherit it, or as our daughter inherits it, that she would have to sell the property in order to pay the taxes. So that's why we decided to do it early and move on with our life. At 82, it's time to move on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry, Chair. I don't have any comment cards or hands via Zoom.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's see, discussion within
So
the,
public comments closed?
yeah, and so public comment is closed then.
Okay.
Discussion within the
Well-
commission.
So is the applicant going to do a nexus study then? It almost asked, like the applicant was asking to do a nexus study in order to avoid the conditions named.
I believe, and Matt could speak more to that, but I believe they were more referring to the fact that they were saying that, given the scope of the project, that the nexus doesn't exist, I suppose. But they
Wouldn't
may
that-
be willing to do that, but I think that probably for the applicant to answer.
Okay. Maybe I misunderstood.
To clarify, we're not asking for a study. Jonathan made it clear, there are no impacts created by this project. In fact, it qualifies for multiple CEQA exemptions. So we're not asking for a study, we're merely making a stand, so to speak.
Okay, thank you. Then I have a question for staff, if I may. The restriction, the language of the restriction, what does it mean? Because to me, it means nothing. Can it be subdivided, that parcel, the 70 acres?
So the way that it's written right now, it would just be that it could only be for agricultural use and only as a preserve, only those two options. So in other words, even if somebody wanted to subdivide it, it still would have to be used for agriculture only.
Well, being that we get a lot of staff reports that say 5 acres is still viable ag, that means it could be a bunch of 5-acre ranchettes then. So it's useless.
And if through the chair, if the commission would like to add that to that, we can definitely do that as well.
Well, I mean, I don't know who came up with the language. Hopefully it wasn't staff, but to me, it's empty. So you might as well not even have it if that's the case.
Well, I had concern when I read that too, because it was phrased as agricultural use or preserve, and I would rather it had been more specific. But yeah, you raise a good point. It makes me a little queasy. I'm sort of okay with it, but I'd be more comfortable if it was more explicit.
Chair,
Yes, please.
being in agriculture, I'd love to see that property stay the 100 acres and ag because I know exactly where you are. It's a good piece of land. I'd like to see this rewritten to where you guarantee that it will stay perpetually in ag. This is very open on this, on my page, 83, number 11. I'd like to see where where you say it will stay in ag perpetually.
But that's,
Please. I don't know how you can do that, but it's got to be, there's somewhere in the deed you can do that. I know there is.
Yes, that will be in it when we give it to the daughter, that it will, that was my grandfather's property. And
Was your grandpa Mr. Titus?
that was Jokaisha was my grandpa and Titus lived there. And it's going to be in the family. And we're just basically doing it for,
Tax preparation.
for tax reasons. And also we want to make sure that she has a place without getting hit with, a lot of taxes at the end. But she's got 3 children that are just into horses and just really gonna, that's, kind of passing down the heritage. But yes, it will stay in farming.
But I want it worded. It's
Yeah,
very
I mean-
vague right here on this number 11, where you say you're going to keep it in perpetual ag. It's very vague. I'd like to see it worded where it's going to be more stringent, where it can't be broken into 5-acre parcels. And I don't know how to do that. I don't know how the wording needs to be, but I know what you're trying to do, and I
Yes.
understand that. But the way this is written here, at some point down the road, it could be,
So if staff were to write it a little bit different.
Yeah.
well, maybe he could come up with some suggestions and then see if the applicant's willing to,
otherwise I'm good with it. I'm good with what you're doing. It's great.
Yeah, I have some qualms about just blanket removing these conditions of approval 27 through 38. Even if they don't apply, this sets a really, really dangerous precedent for other applicants. A lot of these are boilerplate that we include in every thing that comes through us. And the next applicant is going to say, well, you removed it for these folks, why won't you remove it for us as well? And I just don't think we can just set a precedent of, saying, well, it doesn't apply in this case, therefore we just remove them on the fly. I think we really need a study to say, this doesn't apply in this case and here's why.
yep.
I don't think we can just remove them tonight just because the applicant states that they don't apply, even if it seems clear that they don't. It seems is the operative word here. That's just my take on it.
I'm struggling with the same issue.
And
Well,
Chair,
it seems-
the best position to be in is if there was an easement to sort of put that in place too.
I'm sorry, say that again,
An
please.
easement, to do that via an
Open
easement.
space easement?
Right, so that it would be
can't
separately
be-
recorded and so it'd be in the record that way.
You're talking about the 100-acre parcel?
Yes, the 70.
But how you want to keep it as ag,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
79.30. Would the applicant be willing to put it in an open space easement or an ag easement rather, so that it can't be further subdivided and turned into Dunville? I mean, was that the point? Wasn't that the point of this easement? So let's make it actually function.
That really kind of is, it sounds like, to me, it sounds like it's a very wholesome thing. They want to.
Yeah, but I just want to make sure it does what it's supposed to.
They want to do the right thing. It's just how we get it worded.
So, yeah, we want to do the right thing, just get it worded. I mean, that's a lot of stuff.
Okay. The Silers are okay with the concept of the open space easement
Yeah.
to prevent further subdivision of the property.
Yeah,
Okay, great. We can
Okay.
tailor that to however we can add language however you guys would like.
Perfect.
I'm good with that. I'd probably be okay with removing the dedication of parkland also.
Yes.
Is there somewhere we
38.
can do this 27 through whatever 38 he asked for, that we can do it for future? Somewhere we can like an easement, or is there somewhere we can, without removing it, but say you don't have to do it at this time or something? Is there something we can do for that? Because if they leave it like it is, they don't need to do all this other stuff.
You can, but I believe the applicant didn't want it to be conditioned in that way, so that it would trigger later.
Was it 27 through 33 or
Through
clear through 38?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's off.
They're all related to the widening of the road, construction, underground utilities, improvements, which are not justified in this project.
Yeah.
There's no intensification of use, there's no new homes,
Well, there isn't today.
it's not
but-
going to change.
Well, if they come back to
I
do
think
anything
some of the
with
issues
another
is not today,
development,
but
we
they're
would
concerned about
get them,
tomorrow.
we would make them do those things at that
But
time.
he's even objecting to deferred, to making them deferred.
That's part of the trade-off of the ag easement where they can't subdivide it. And if they come back to subdivide the 20 acre parcel, then they will face some improvements off of that.
But why not have them deferred improvements, I guess? What's the harm in making them deferred? How is that different from saying, when you come back to us, we'll add these in? Well, I guess I'm struggling with what's the difference legally, what's the difference
Yeah.
between leaving them in as deferred and saying, when you come back to us, we're going to put these on your new conditional use permit? What is the legal difference? Is there a difference?
Chair, may I say
Yes.
something?
Please.
Since they're willing to put that 70 point something acres in
Yeah.
open space or agriculture,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it,
Ag easement?
ag easement.
Yeah.
It's basically going to make 27 through 38 a moot point.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, because they can't do anything. The minute they do that,
Yeah.
they can't do anything. So it doesn't matter
Yeah,
with
okay.
all the stuff that we're saying here. So my recommendation,
Yep,
I hate to do this because I don't like doing this, but remove it.
yeah. It's a trade-off.
It's a trade-off because she just gave us the
All right,
land
we
as
can-
ag
we can-
forever.
We can do that, but let's add a whereas to the resolution. Let's add a whereas that says, whereas the applicant has agreed to dedicate an easement for, I forget what the word is, but whereas the applicant has agreed
Just
to this
adding that.
easement. And so that it makes it clear to any future applicant that that's the reason that we aren't
I
doing
agree to
these.
that.
that-
Yes,
that
I
way it's
agree
in the-
100% to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agree.
okay.
Okay, agreed? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But do you have the language that you need as far as doing the
So,
ag easement?
and you would prefer open space versus ag preserve?
I think ag is probably better. I mean, that would include no further subdivision of that parcel, correct?
Yep, and we can put that, we can add that in as part of it, but anytime one of these deed restrictions is recorded, they would have to come back to like a board and have it removed and have it be approved to be removed.
Okay,
So,
Okay,
then I would agree with
yeah.
that, and we'll leave the final language up to the chair so that we don't have to bring this back at some point in the future.
Okay.
And then also add the whereas with the reasoning why we're striking
27 through
27
38,
through 38 is
Yeah,
because of
just-
that trade-off.
because they traded with us, so.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Yes.
just to make it clear that, if another applicant comes to us, they're not going to get that same dispensation, and here's why.
Yeah,
They
unless
don't
they
know
want
the
to do the
reasons
same thing.
why.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that sounds good to
Do
me.
we-
So shall we vote on the, well, I guess
Do-
we need a motion.
Just to clarify, do we want to specify what kinds of activities, ag activities would be allowed within that space? Or
Well, if it's an
do we need to
easement,
do that?
isn't that defined?
So easements are done on a one-off scenario, and so they're usually defined within that easement. You could simply say anything allowed in ag zoning could be allowed on the parcel still. It just no future subdivision. So we just want to be clear what's going to be in that recorded easement. Can they come and build a barn in 10 years? We want to make sure it's spelled out.
Yeah, if they want to turn it into a horse rescue, go ahead.
Okay, so the recommendation that I'm hearing is that any allowed use in the ag zoning would be still permitted to do. You'd have to follow whatever discretionary requirements, if it requires a
Yeah.
conditional use.
Yeah, I think so.
When the applicant's flexible, we should be flexible also.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes. So do we need to take a vote?
Yep.
Yeah, so, I guess, do we have enough wording that?
Yeah, before
we
that,
can
let's
use?
clarify with staff whether they're sure that we have what we want here before we.
we want to do ag preserve, and we want only uses allowed in ag to be allowed in perpetuity with, and runs with the land, and then have the deed restriction officially recorded with the county and all of that. And the only way for them to remove it or subdivide would be to come back to
Correct.
like Board of Supervisors or something like that.
And the removal of the conditions that were requested to be removed and the addition of the whereas in the resolution that explains why we're removing them.
Yep, perfect, got that.
Okay.
Yep.
So do we have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Do we have a
Second.
second?
Second.
Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
You got it. Vincent Ringhayden, Richard Way,
Yes?
Robert Scaliotti,
Yes.
Robert Gibson,
Yes.
Bobby Thomason.
Yes.
That is a 5-0 in favor of the amended changes.
Thank you very much. Okay, so that takes care of item 7.2. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 7.3. Hold a public hearing regarding this is a continuation of, forgive me, is it Nino or Nino? I'm not sure. It's Nino, a tentative map subdividing a 234.8 acre parcel. I'll just let you proceed with this one since it's a continuation, so please explain. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we'll give I did update a memo, I think you got it earlier. And I apologize to the applicant, I didn't get to speak with them yet, but I will speak with them after. So we're recommending staff is recommending the planning commission continue the consideration of PLN 250035, minor subdivision at 111 Best Road to a date uncertain. Updated water testing is needed from the applicant regarding water supply and pump testing results. Once these tests are submitted by the applicant, environmental health staff can then update their comments accordingly. Continuing this item will allow time for staff and the applicant to provide the required submittals so environmental health can give their comments on this. And also additionally, we found out that there is also, it will need a sequel initial study due to the presence of critical habitat for tiger salamander in combination with known cultural resources and wetlands present.
Questions for staff on this? Public comment on this item? No? Discussion among the commission? Is there a motion to continue this item?
Move to continue to a date uncertain.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No? Okay, item is continued to a date uncertain. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 7.4. This is review and adopt the attached resolution that recommends the Board of Supervisors add local tenant preference to Title 21. Disclosure on this one, I participated in one ad hoc meeting with Supervisors Zanger and Velasquez in, I think it was late July. They requested my presence in that one, in addition to a couple other people on staff and one person from our county counsel's office. In any event, please proceed with the presentation on that. Thank you.
Okay, hi Commissioners. Stephanie Rex, Senior Planner. Instead of doing another presentation, as you've seen this multiple times, there was just a few minor amendments that were made, so I'm going to review those for you right now. CMAP, if you can please pull the screen up. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to scroll down to our first red line here tonight. The scope. Originally, this said the project would apply for any projects that had 4 or more units. We amended that to be 5 or more units because at 5 is when you hit a major subdivision. So we didn't want this to affect any minor subdivisions. So it was updated to projects of 5 or more for the scope applicability. And then we're going to move down into our preferences here. We added a few preferences. So through some of our meetings with the school district, we decided it would be a great idea to add a preference here specifically for school district employees to help them out. So this is for any school district employee in the entirety of the county of San Benito. So any school district that is in existence here. And then you guys, the Planning Commission, requested to add seniors to the preference. So seniors have been added, and it's a San Benito County senior that is 62 years of age or older, or 55 years of age older who reside in a senior citizen housing development. And this is the definition by state law. And then because you suggested seniors, I thought it would be a great idea to add individuals with disabilities because they typically go hand in hand. Our Aging and Disability Resource Center serves both individual populations. So we added another preference here for individuals with disabilities, and that is defined in our county code. And then we're going to scroll down. So I'm going to stop here at limitations for a second. During our last meeting, we discussed exploring an exemption for school districts. We met with the school district twice, and they're here tonight and they will speak to this. And so they're in agreement with our preference for school district employees. They're in agreement with the removal of the 1-year durational preference. However, the exemption for school districts is per state law. And state laws can be amended and these things. So it's a moot point to include it here because they would only be allowed based on state law anyways. So to like take out any redundancy or extra explanation, we actually didn't include it here. And we do have the support of the school district and they can comment as well when I'm done. And that's it. Those were all the amendments requested. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Not at this time.
Okay. All right. Public comment on this issue?
Sean?
Apologize for my furry friend. She's with us tonight, but it's good to see you, Chair Way and Commissioners. Thank you very much. So Shout is the facility dog for the high school. She sees students all day. And then I have the honor of taking her home with me. So we have the ability to support our students with anxiety and depression, many of our students with emotional needs. And she's doing a fantastic job with the 3,400 students. So, but I do want to compliment the staff. We had some fantastic meetings and partnership meetings regarding affordable workforce housing projects, which if the commission is aware, both Monterey County, Santa Cruz County, Santa Clara County, all the way up to Peninsula, most school districts in those counties are looking at projects and or projects underway, including LA Unified, San Diego, San Francisco, to name the few districts. So we're looking at a project right now. We've been working with folks at the Capitol, and I want to compliment the staff and yourselves for the local tenant preference, as well as the school district employee exemption. I think we can all agree on common ground that affordability for housing is one of the state's greatest crises right now. So we're trying to amend that so that we have a local workforce that can live and work in our community. So if there are any questions for Sean tonight, I wanted to, again, thank you and compliment you on your actions.
Jeff have anything he wants to add?
Jeff, do you have anything you want to add? Good? Okay.
Okay.
Any questions from the commission? No? Thank you again.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment?
Oh, yes. Oh, wait, maybe. I'm going to next. Nope.
No? Okay. Discussion within the commission?
Well, thank you for the changes and thank you for working with the district. I would like to see seniors get an extra point or two. I think they're a very vulnerable population. A lot of them are surviving on Social Security, and I think if anyone deserves an extra point or two, it would be seniors.
I agree with that. I mean, we
agree
have a lot of
also.
seniors and not all of them have the .com benefits, so.
It's true.
What are your thoughts on an extra point or two extra
We'd
points?
have to, I mean, Sean said, I thought last time that we have to be careful of how we do this in the point system.
Yeah, I would be careful. That said, I don't know of any restrictions that would make it so you couldn't
So
add
we
an extra
could've- we
point
could-
as I sit here.
As
So.
you said, give an additional point or whatever, half point, whatever you.
I would think, to start with, I'd be comfortable with one extra point and then see how it goes. And if need be, we could come back and add another point.
It's a prudent approach, yeah.
Okay, so I think then what we can do is in two places, so under preference 9 for seniors, I can add a sentence that says this preference shall count for 2 points.
Sure.
And in the section where we talk about, I believe it's implementation, each preference shall constitute 1 point. I'll put in however seniors will receive 2 points.
Sure, that works.
Okay?
Okay. With the changes noted, I move to approve.
Second.
Shall we have a roll call then? Stephanie, shall we
Oh,
have a
I'm
roll call?
sorry. I'm doing too many things.
Sorry.
Sorry. Vincent Ringhayden,
Yes,
Bobby Thomason,
Yes.
Richard Way,
Yes.
Robert Gibson,
Yes.
Robert Scaliotti.
Yes.
Okay. Approved 5-0. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 7.5, I believe. Yes, 7.5. This is the changes to Title 25 in its entirety, which is the zoning ordinance. Full disclosure here, I had a conversation earlier today with Vass Williams, former supervisor from Santa Barbara County, former legislator in the California State Assembly. And I also had a conversation with Seth Capron, and I've also read the letters from both Seth and Leslie. All of these conversations and letters were regarding the battery storage implications of the changes to the proposed changes to the zoning regulations, which basically would preclude battery storage in the county except under very specific regulations. In any event, please proceed with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, fellow commissioners, and members of the public. As I go through this presentation today on our zoning code, I am going to go through the changes since June 4th. And so some of the information hasn't changed, and so I'll be moving quickly through some of those slides that there are no changes. Under 2501, public hearing procedures and noticing since June, the additional changes include revising to read that the county shall also be posted on the county website and that the project site be by the county, not the applicant, because that's how it is done operationally, in a location that is readable from the public right-of-way and shall include the following. And then the addition of D as follows reads that if the application includes legislative action, then notice shall be posted at the project site by the applicant in a location that is readable from the public right-of-way and notice sent to local affected agencies. There were no changes since June on appeals and expansions of non-conforming uses, structures, and sites. Moving forward. The changes under 2502 crowing fowl permits include that under C3 it now reads as follows. If evidence of illegal activity is found, such as cockfighting, expedited administrative abatement may occur pursuant to section 103014. In addition, under F2 now reads as hours of confinement, crowing fowl must be kept inside an enclosed structure with a roof between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. Under 6.3 modified from should to shall, updated J exemptions to read as follows. The following are exempt from the provisions of this article. These exceptions shall not apply to cockfighting regulations identified in I above under any circumstances. There were no changes to 2502 development plan review thresholds. This one's going to be a little lengthy, so I'm just going to prep you. Under land use tables, a few notes to consider. We went back looking at the EV charging and how many should be allowed. In review of legislation under AB 1236, which requires counties to implement streamlining permitting for electric vehicle charging stations, and specifically under the sub paragraph B1, it states that a city, county, or city and county shall administratively approve an application to install electric vehicle charging stations throughout the issuance of building permit or similar non-discretionary permits. And it goes on to read more. Additionally, AB 970 was codified under Government Code Section 50.71 and builds on the prior section by adding specific timelines to the review period based on the size of the project. And due to that legislation, it moved to just being a permitted activity. So that's why you saw that change there. In addition, we went to look at battery storage and how much battery storage should be included. And in looking at several different jurisdictions, the proposed is in front of you for consideration that this excludes individual backup storage systems with a capacity of less than 600 kilowatts per hour. Backup storage systems between 600 kilowatts per hour and 2 megawatts require a minor development plan review. AB 546 also streamlines permitting for advanced energy storage, allows electronic submissions, and requires online availability of permitting information for reference. Under renewable energy facilities, for reference, there's no broad state law requiring all renewable energy facilities be allowed by right, but there are targeted streamlining provisions for consideration. AB 21A8, small residential rooftop solar, that's codified in Government Code Section 65850.5, requires expedited, streamlined permitting process for small residential rooftop solar. In addition, there are a few major legislative drivers for renewable and carbon-free electricity in California. These include SB 100 in 2018. This landmark bill sets the goal of achieving 100% clean electricity by 2045. It requires the California Energy Commission, California Public Utilities Commission, and California Air Resources Board to submit a report to the legislator every 4 years outlining progress and strategies. Under SB 350 in 2015, this legislation increased the state's renewable energy procurement goal to 50% by 2030 with interim targets and requirements for long-term contracts. SB 1020 from 2022, this act sets interim targets for zero carbon electricity, aiming for 90% by 2035, 95% by 2040, and 100% by 2045. AB 205 allows for a state approval process for CEC certification, which would replace the county's role in large part. The CEC would still consult the county and would attempt to incorporate county rules, but to the extent that those rules do not exist or are an impediment to putting the solar farm in place, or they would be ignored. Moving on to land use tables in residential zones. It was requested at the last meeting to, we went back to the ad hoc to review the development standards under RM. The following changes were made: that developments with 5 or more lots must include mixed-use elements, which may include but are not limited to apartments, condominiums, duets, duplexes, and a commercial component making up of at least 5% of the project. The requirement for a commercial component may be waived under the following conditions. So for projects between 5 to 20 units, the Planning Commission may approve a waiver. For projects more than 20 units, the waiver must be approved by the Board of Supervisors. Waiver requests must be submitted before the start of the CEQA review process. This is to ensure that you have the full project description in moving the project forward. In addition, staff had received questions about possible changes or looking at transitional housing or why transitional housing was included. And traditional housing is required to be treated the same as residential housing under Government Code Section 65583. So that is just the explanation of why it is permitted under the different zoning districts. The change under planned unit development, there was no changes. Continuing on, under 2507 general development and design standards, Under 2507002 D1E, corrected the word tract. And then updated the section F to be consistent with the land use tables as I previously presented. H, all new housing structures shall be built to comply with the WUI provisions of the California Building Code, which require the use of fire-resistant materials and construction techniques for structures located throughout the unincorporated county, not just in designated high-risk wildfire zones. I, all new housing structures shall include battery energy storage systems. J, all new housing structures shall be built with gray water systems that meet all the requirements of the California Green Building Standards Code, Cal Green. K, all new housing structures shall follow the California Building Code for electric vehicle charging station requirements. L, all fences shall be finished block walls. M, a paved sidewalk shall be required along the side yard extending at a minimum to the garage side door. There were no changes under 2507 general development standards to the non-residential architectural and design standards that was previously presented in June. So I'm just going to continue past these slides. The changes under 2507 general development design standards for cannabis under the cannabis screening and fencing corrected the word scrap and removed section D. There were no changes under 2508 for ADUs since June. Under 2508 mobile home and recreational vehicles, it's been requested to look at dry RV parking. Staff did reach out to environmental health, and the following changes were included. RV park shall comply with all applicable state and local health and safety requirements. This may include facilities such as public restroom, showers, and laundry facilities. All recreational vehicle spaces shall be provided with individual connections or a designated dump station to an adequate wastewater disposal system, potable water, electrical hookups, and individual closed trash containers or a common closed trash container as approved by the county. The RV park shall not be located in a 100-year floodplain. The insurance that if it wasn't individual connections, that there was a dump station at the site to make sure that there wasn't any dumping offsite in places, around the county. So it's just ensuring that there is a place for them to go, even if it's not an individual hookups, was the recommendation before you for consideration. Under 2508 pet shops, commercial kennels, and hobby kennels, we corrected the word covering. There were no changes under 2508 animal keeping and number of small farm animals, small livestock, and dog and cats. There were no changes under 2508 renewable energy facilities since June. There were no changes to 2508 movable tiny homes since June. There were no changes to 2508 short-term rentals since June. There was a request to look at the surveillance requirements under 2508 commercial sports shooting and indoor shooting ranges. Staff went back and re-reviewed state law, Penal Code 26806, mandates since January 1st, 2024, that all licensed firearm dealers must install and maintain digital video and audio surveillance systems on their premises. We use this criteria for the code, even if maybe they're not selling as a dealer, but use the same standard applying. It included the penal code includes items such as continuous operation. The system must record 24 hours a day, audio and video recording. It must record both audio indoors and video, clearly capturing images and sounds. It talks about camera placement and where they should be placed. Frame rate must be 15 frames per second. Storage duration must be for at least a year. Security shall include a failure notification mechanism and secure storage to prevent tampering or unauthorized access and access control, including law enforcement with proper authorization, and that the backup is for 30 days. And it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so the following updates were made to run 24/7, and that the stored images would be not for 30 days, but for 1 year, and that if damaged, the surveillance must be repaired or replaced within 7 calendar days. So those are what you see before you. There were no changes to the glossary. It's the same incidental cleanup. And staff recommends that the Planning Commission tonight can either include adopting the resolution with the proposed draft ordinance as recommended, or you do have the option to adopt it with any additional recommended amendments, or you do have the option to continue the item with, to pursue or make any additional amendments or changes. That concludes my presentation for the evening. I'm happy to take any questions at this time.
Thanks. Before we open it up for public comment, are there questions from the commission for staff?
No.
No.
Okay, public comments then?
Okay, we're going to move through the speaker cards I have from in chambers, and then I'm going to go to my hands on Zoom. Let's start with Laren Cyphers.
Ready? Commissioners, the proposed exclusion of solar and storage is a counterproductive policy for San Benito County. I want to be clear that it is our strong preference to work directly and collaboratively with the county to ensure that our project is a good fit for the community. That said, if this exclusion ordinance is approved, the project would have to seek approval through the state's Assembly Bill 205 process. What this means is that there's one state approval, which would replace the need for a county conditional use permit, and that a project can be improved even if it conflicts with local zoning ordinances. With this state-led process, the county's role shifts from being the decision maker to just a commenting agency, effectively removing county control. The California Energy Commission, or the CEC, as the decision maker here, has a mission to get more renewable electrons and storage onto the grid. So ultimately, if a solid project like Allium is brought to their desk through the AB 205 process, the CEC would likely be inclined to approve this project. However, I see the AB 205 process as a lose-lose scenario for both of us. It's a loss for the county as it removes your direct jurisdictional authority over local land use and the ability to shape projects through your own conditions of approval. Instead, having that important decisions made in Sacramento. And it's a loss for me as the developer because it's less collaborative, it's way more onerous, it's more costly, and it's a one-size-fits-all approach. Additionally, this proposed exclusion directly contradicts the goals of the Comprehensive Climate Action Plan, which is on this very same agenda. Your action plan calls for new electrical infrastructure to improve grid resiliency and even encourages solar and battery storage installation on homes and businesses beyond what the state requires. Utility scale projects like Allium use very similar technology to the residential systems, but are subject to far more robust formal permitting processes, environmental review, and rigorous safety codes. So the Allium project could help achieve your goals in this climate action plan, while the exclusion would undermine those goals. I urge you to reject the proposed exclusion of solar and storage, keeping the permitting process local so that you retain control over the projects and their conditions of approval. And a decision of this magnitude at least deserves more research and should be delayed, if not outright rejected tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mike Nicholas, please approach the podium. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners, and staff. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I want to introduce myself. My name is Michael Nicholas. I'm a retired captain and assistant fire marshal from Kern County Fire Department, where I ran and pioneered our battery energy storage program. We currently have the largest single active battery energy storage project in the world at 3.2 gigawatt hours, supporting Edwards Air Force Base. Since retiring, I've been brought on to help the projects like Allium's and also working in conjunction with jurisdictions like San Diego County on helping to develop their ordinances. I've been brought up to speak at the California Energy Commission Roundtable post Moss Landing to be a subject matter expert there. Working also with Mike Novo with Monterey County Housing and Development, who has asked myself and Chief Joel Mendoza to be speaking to the California County Planning Directors Association to help in the process. Also working with the Governor's Office and Business and Economic Development, along with California Public Utility Commission to help develop their battery energy storage ordinance. That's going to be a model ordinance used for jurisdictions to be able to base their permitting process on. So I had the unenviable task of trying to swallow an elephant whole when this dropped in my lap, and it was a brand new storage. I think I'm an excellent representative because I came from knowing nothing about this industry to a vertical climb over the past 6 years to become fluent in a language with a safety first emphasis. I also sit on NFP 855 Commission, which we are currently working on getting our next 2026 edition out, which the California Fire Code will end up developing midterm. So in an 18-month period, we'll have a temporary interim amendment where we'll pull that most recent edition in. So I wanted to take the opportunity to discuss a few things safety-wise about battery energy storage. And I heard somebody bring up Moss Landing earlier. Hot topic across the industry, no mistakes. So the biggest difference and pivot that we're seeing within the industry is going from containerized, which is what we're going to see predominantly now, instead of any building-based. So a container has 1 to 5 megawatts of power. Moss Landing's phase that was involved was 300 megawatts with an 85% loss, around 250 megawatts. So for comparative purposes, one enclosure is 1 to 2% of what was lost at Moss Landing. Allium also has a 1,500-foot setback from major roadways and occupied structures, as well as a 300-foot setback from buildable property lines, which is really important when we're looking at setbacks. Another big code development that's happening is that we're having large-scale fire tests, which are designed to demonstrate that the enclosure involved in a fire won't propagate to an adjacent enclosure, so that we show up as first responders and we have a finite fire area that we're dealing with, which is a single enclosure, instead of a building's worth of enclosure or a building worth of batteries. In Kern County, we set up our incident command post at 300 feet away. Thank you for the opportunity. And I wanted to make myself available if there's any questions.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, Sophia Schwivsky. I hope I did that justice.
Good evening, Chairway and Commissioners. My name is Sophia Schwartzky, and I'm here on behalf of Central Coast Community Energy, the public agency that procures power for 1.2 million people across 5 counties, including around 60,000 San Benito County residents. 3CE is on a pathway to deliver 100% clean and renewable energy. It is our responsibility to buy reliable, affordable, and renewable energy on behalf of our customers. Because of this responsibility, we are concerned by the Title 25 zoning amendments. Firstly, the amendments are inconsistent with San Benito County's general plan policies. The county has a principle to strive to increase the supply of locally procured renewable energy in order to promote energy independence and efficiency under policy NCR 6.1. While batteries are not explicitly named, they are essential to meeting our renewable goals. In addition, policy NCR 6.2 seeks to reduce regulatory barriers, not add new ones. Secondly, energy storage projects provide direct benefits to community members. They store clean energy when it's least expensive and release it when demand costs are high, helping keep energy affordable for families and businesses. They strengthen grid reliability during times of grid stress. They also support economic and workforce development by creating local jobs and contributing local tax revenue. And importantly, according to the Electric Power Research Institute, battery failure rates have dropped 98% since 2018, even as global deployment of the technology has increased by 25,000%. New energy storage facilities are now subject to updated fire code and building code, and the industry has adopted different battery technology that is far less prone to thermal runaway. In our experience working with renewable energy developers, the proposed Title 25 zoning amendments would give away your local control. By creating a de facto ban, energy developers will be encouraged to use the state's AB 205 process, an alternative permitting pathway without local decision-making. 3CE respectfully asks the Commission to please consider the broader consequences of prohibiting utility-scale batteries for energy reliability, affordability, and economic opportunity. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Jason Noble?
Good evening. Just wanted to share a few concerns with some of the language I've reviewed regarding 25.03 development standards requirements for 5 or more lots created at least 5% mixed use. That's 0.25% of a lot where there are 5 lots. Would that mean you round up to 1 full lot if you're working with less than 20 units in a subdivision? The threshold for obligating a subdivision to mixed use commercial seems unrealistic and a little heavy-handed. Does it really seem appropriate to put a Starbucks in a 5-lot subdivision or even a 20-lot subdivision? Regarding waiver considerations, also seems to be adding approval layers which add time, cost, and are unnecessary if you don't require commercial on too small of a scale. There are more appropriate locations for commercial. The thought of bringing in a request for a waiver before CEQA even begins seems equally unrealistic to expect planning commissioners or supervisors to make a determination without the full benefit of a study being completed and/or accompanying staff report recommendation. How else can a project be given the needed consideration? Regarding 25.07 D1E, not repeating an elevation until the 10th unit is being constructed seems like a bad idea. I'm all for getting us better built homes and better looking homes here, but the small subdivision builder, who's often the local guy, adding the additional cost to do so many elevations does not seem right. Could making color a determining factor or a number less than every 10 accommodate the ordinance? D1I, battery energy storage systems. I know a guy who was making a good living selling solar. At least he was until the battery component was mandated. People stopped buying solar because the battery component was so expensive. If you think builders are going to throw it in, they're not. Most of all, if not all, the larger tract builders make it the buyer's problem to pay for it or lease the solar. When people ask why homes are so expensive, we can point to this. Shouldn't this be an option to an owner rather than a mandate? D1L, all fences should be finished block wall. So if I build an ADU, block wall. If I'm building a home on acreage, block wall. Personally, we have no crawl fencing, barbed wire, and grape stake. We would prefer to see what's going on the other side of the fence. Even in a subdivision, you're adding significant costs to the building of the home by requiring block wall. D1M says paved walkway, not concrete, not all-weather surface. Why is paving asphalt the needed surface in this section? Regarding 6E, corner lots, why duets or duplexes? Why not single-family residence with a junior ADU or an ADU? What's the intent of this? Ultimately, adding, I was getting to the good part too.
Seth Capron?
Good evening, Commissioners. I strongly urge you to remove the ban on clean energy storage from the proposed changes to the zoning ordinance and replace that with a requirement for conditional use permits. I served 6 years on the Community Advisory Council at 3CE, a couple of years as chair. And I got a chance to learn a lot about our journey to electrify our energy economy and achieve carbon-free energy. 3CE's goal is 100% clean energy by 2030. And we are 3CE. San Benito County, Hollister, San Juan are all members of 3CE working together to achieve these goals. We've been moving rapidly toward those goals, partnering with solar developers in creating new solar, wind, and geothermal projects. When new solar and wind projects are built, they always include energy storage. It's not economical to build a solar project without energy storage because the electrons aren't worth very much in the afternoon when the sun's out. They're worth a lot in the evening. And that's because that's when we need the power on the grid. And that's where we can reduce the use of fossil energy production. So if local jurisdictions say no to clean energy storage, they would be giving up on our statewide and regional efforts to turn the corner on climate change in time to avert a total climate disaster. And these climate goals are baked into our climate action plan that you'll be reviewing later tonight. As was mentioned earlier, it actually says that the county should work directly with 3CE to look for opportunities to develop new renewable energy and storage projects within San Benito County. When I served on the 3CE advisory board, I was a big proponent for trying to develop renewable energy projects locally. Most of the projects we built have been over in the Central Valley because it's been less expensive to do that. But there's big advantages to doing it locally. You look at your PG&E bill and the distribution and transmission costs are 2/3 of your bill. We can eliminate those long transmission lines, and takes a lot of years to get transmission lines built. So if we want to ramp up our use of renewable energy, we can do it more quickly with local generation. The proposed ban is clearly a reaction to what happened at Moss Landing and the battery fire there. I understand that concern. I live close to Moss Landing out in Aromas. I left home for 3 days when that fire was burning. And as was mentioned earlier, that's older technology that isn't in use today. Thank you very much.
Carson
you.
Clower.
Good evening, Commission. My name is Carson Clower. I am K2 Solutions. I'm a lobbyist, so just gonna get that out there. I don't have any contracts with people who'd be affected by what I'm gonna talk about, so just to kind of be clear. Like I said in June, I have some major concerns about requiring commercial in residential mixed. I'd like to see some sort of discussion about getting rid of single-family residential in general. I'm not going to make a point one way or another on that, but I think a giant decision like that deserves a few minutes of discussion from the commission or the board or the public. But if you do that, and then you require that land and also the residential multiple land to be conditioned with 5% commercial, which to me, it's still not clear what that even means. I don't think it makes sense in any regard, but let's say you have a project that's a couple acres, which is possible at those densities. You're gonna end up with maybe a 6,000 square foot lot that's commercial, smaller, maybe 4,000, depending on how you decide what the square footage is. Is it pre-subdivision? Is it after you take out the road dedications for the subdivision? There's all these questions that could be fleshed out, but I think the point of this is to have something in the code that a bad actor on either the commission or the board of supervisors could point to and say, hey, you're not meeting that, and we're not going to give you a waiver. Waivers do not make sense as a process. So not only are you going to have bad code, you're going to have bad process. A 5-lot subdivision, the idea of having commercial on it just doesn't make sense. But then to have to come to you and waste your time to get a waiver every time somebody's going to submit an application for it, this is something that's being kind of thrown in there that will come through with the other 40 or 50 changes that are happening. That is a massive change. And I think code overhauls are great. It's a lot easier to do it that way than to go one by one and spend time and 3 minutes from everybody's day on it. But for me personally, you have a bunch of stuff that seems fairly good. There's some stuff about the battery storage that I have no background in, so I'm not going to comment on it. But this is much more impactful than I think anybody's really talking about. Most of residential developments can't support commercial financially. It doesn't work. And most residential developments aren't compatible with commercial uses. So the idea that you're going to have a small project that's going to have one store out on Southside Road and then someone's going to build that and then you're going to rent it for $1,400 a month, it's just not going to happen. So hopefully there's some discussion around that. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move over to Zoom. Eric, you have been allowed to unmute yourself. Uh-oh, I see that you're talking, but we can't hear anything. Hang on. Try talking now. Oops. Unfortunately, we're not getting any audio from Zoom. Let's pause for 1 second and see if CMAP can figure this out.
While we're waiting, I will just say that I've had the same conversations that Rich had with Seth and the other gentleman who I'm forgetting his name. And I also read the letters that were submitted to the Planning Commission regarding the battery storage. Anyone else want to confess your sins?
At this moment, I have no sins to confess. Thank you.
I doubt that very much.
Unfortunately, Mr. Way, you are right.
Eric, are you still trying to speak? Okay, here's a quick workaround. I can give my county cell phone number if you would like to call in. You may call me and we could take your public comment that way. For all of those listening via Zoom, my phone number is 831-718-7960. Again, 831-718-7960. Eric, if you would please give me a call first.
And she'll be changing that right after this meeting.
Is this Eric? You are on the line.
Let me turn my audio down on my computer.
Okay, you'll have
Okay.
3 minutes. I'll let you know when it's up.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Eric Vium, and I'm speaking on behalf of the CCA Workforce and Environmental Justice Alliance. And this evening, I urge you to reject a countywide ban on clean energy storage. Battery storage isn't just about climate, it's about keeping the lights on. California now has more than 15,000 megawatts of storage online, powering millions of homes after sunset. By 2045, the state will need more than 3 times that to ensure reliability. Let me be clear, today's battery systems are not comparable to Moss Landing's variety. That fire was a turning point, and safety standards have advanced dramatically since and continue to advance. Every project today must meet NFPA 855, which, as you heard earlier, is being updated, and be listed under UL 9540 and pass UL 9540A testing that shows how batteries behave in the rare case of failure. California's fire code now requires spacing, fire detection, gas monitoring, and emergency access. Local fire officials review detailed emergency response plans before projects can operate. And this spring, the CPUC strengthened statewide rules, so every large project must have approved emergency and maintenance plans. The result? Safer designs, better chemistries like lithium ion phosphate, and stronger oversight. The tools exist to manage risk responsibly. A ban would throw away jobs, tax revenue, and the reliability benefits that should come to San Benito residents. We need storage to prevent blackouts, support renewables, and lower long-term costs. Please reject this ban and instead direct staff to enforce today's modern codes. Let's build a safer, cleaner, more reliable energy future together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And goodbye. Okay, Leslie Austin, you're going to be next. Would you please give me a phone call? Okay. Hello, is this Leslie?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
I can. You will have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Commissioners. Leslie Austin here. I live in Aromas, about 15 miles from Moss Landing. When that fire broke out earlier this year, it was really hard not to see how much it shook people. And I want to thank the staff and this commission in advance for taking safety seriously. That really has to be the starting point in any conversation about clean energy storage, especially now. But to be clear, banning clean energy storage won't make San Benito safer. The Sierra Club's national team has emphasized that while fires are rare, storage projects should meet clear safety standards and responsible oversight. The takeaway is simple. Adopt safety protections for storage that give communities real confidence and are straightforward enough to keep projects moving. And here's the catch. A ban doesn't actually stop projects. Under AB 205, developers can go straight to the State Energy Commission. The state can override a local ban and approve projects even on prime farmland without any local conditions. So instead of keeping control here, a ban, ironically, gives it away. There is a better way. San Benito can put a permitting framework in place that fits different land uses. That means safeguards like setbacks, fire pre-plans so firefighters know exactly what to do, siting on fallow or non-prime soils instead of prime productive farmland, and making sure the public has a voice. That's how you hold projects accountable without creating unnecessary barriers that just add cost and drive up expenses. And this is also about resilience. San Benito sits at the end of PG&E's line. Our circuit is one of the least reliable in the state. Clean energy storage is what keeps irrigation pumps and cold storage running on farms, keeps schools open as cooling centers for kids, keeps fire stations powered during outages. If any county needs this, it's ours. These projects also bring, as you heard earlier, economic benefits, tax revenue for public services, lease income for landowners, and good local jobs. A ban just throws those benefits away while leaving us more dependent on fossil fuels. Other agricultural counties, Ventura, Sonoma, Napa, Fresno, Kings County, they've all faced the same choice, and all of them have chose regulations with conditions, not bans. San Benito should do the same. Tonight, you can set San Benito on the path to resilience. I urge you to reject the ban, keep decisions local, protect prime farmland, and build the resilience this community needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Okay, next we're going to have Tim Frank. Tim, please give me a call. Hello, is this Tim?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you will have 3 minutes.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much. And because a lot of what I was planning to say has already been said, I think I may be able to keep it quite short. But I'm Tim Frank, and I'm with the Center for Sustainable Neighborhoods. We support projects that help build sustainable neighborhoods and that help make neighborhoods great places to live, work, and play, that make them resilient, that make them responsible in the face of climate change. And we think that one of the keys to sustainability is a sustainable energy supply. And for neighborhoods in San Bernardino County, one of the keys to that, as the previous speaker noted, is actually making sure that there's appropriate energy supplies that are local, that because you're at the end of the line. And that providing local energy storage will actually make it possible to build local clean energy capacity that also is good for climate. So we think that this is a win-win-win if you do it right. But the key here is to retain local permitting approval. That's what will allow you to look at the details. As noted before, it's things like the setbacks, but also we would like to encourage you to think about making sure that the storage projects are built by skilled workers, and ideally with skilled local workers that can help provide jobs for your local workforce. And we think that the obvious choice tonight is to retain your own capacity, your own decision-making capacity by rejecting the ban and instead pointing towards a local renewal, a local approval process. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim. Goodbye. Okay, Nancy, you're next. Would you please give me a call? Hello, is this Nancy?
This is Nancy.
Okay, you'll have 3 minutes.
Does that sound good? Okay, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. This is Nancy Falstick. I'm the Executive Director of Regeneration, Pajaro Valley Climate Action. We're based here in Watsonville. We do work closely with government agencies and community-based organizations in San Benito County through the Monterey Bay Area Climate Justice Collaborative, which we are managing, and also on some regional projects. And our staff come from, and we work closely with farm worker and immigrant families who are already living with the daily impacts of climate change here on the Central Coast. Like others, I'm calling to urge you to reject a blanket ban. I do support regulation of battery energy storage systems, but I believe that we need the backup energy both to keep power on and to reduce dependencies on fossil fuels. I've been learning more recently about the plants that are called peaker plants that come on when the demand increases, and those are gas plants that are both expensive and really dirty, and they tend to be located in low-income communities. So the pollution from those plants is directly impacting people who are already disproportionately experiencing the effects of climate change. And again, fossil fuels and climate changes don't stay within jurisdictional boundaries. So I think what happens in San Benito County does affect the rest of us in the Monterey Bay. And I want to urge you to reject a ban. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Goodbye. Okay, that is the end of public comment.
Okay, thank you. Public comment is closed. Discussion then within the commission.
I think I'll try to go closer to last because I have
Okay.
a lot of
Yeah,
things.
I have a number of comments as well.
Sorry to staff in advance. I appreciate all your work, but there's more work to do.
I have a couple of comments. if you
Please.
don't mind. I'm definitely not for a ban of the storage plants. I think that the Moss Landing plants scared the heck out of everybody, but I also think that as a retired electrician, there's a lot of safety built into NFPA 70, and I realize this is a couple years old, but if they follow this and use the monitoring systems, thermal monitoring systems, and this can be done safely. That's my thought. There's a lot of new technology. Moss Landing was old and should have never been online, in my opinion, because of the technology, and the thermal runaway was obviously not monitored and in control. Gosh, I could go on for a while, but I'll stop there for now.
Okay. Other thoughts? Bobby, anything from you?
Okay, so let's start whacking. I appreciate all the public comment. I'm going to try to go in order. First sticky. Oh, pointed out at the last meeting, but it wasn't corrected. On page 187 of our packet, in the index, it still says under appeals, error, bookmark not defined.
It's not doing it on our end so I think it's something with Peak. The Word document
I don't
doesn't have
appreciate
it.
whoever that is. Okay, will that get fixed at some point, though?
The Word document doesn't show that error.
Huh.
I think
Okay.
it's something when uploaded to Peak.
Okay, then going to page 190, the tables, we have the non-residential structures being commercial, office, institutional. We also have the agricultural, industrial. What if we bump those numbers up some more? I would like to have a discussion about bumping that up so that we can be more business friendly, oddly enough, in this county. I think we thought we were bold a year or two ago whenever we bumped them up, but when you really think about 50,000 square feet, that's not anything. So I'd like to have a discussion with the commission about changing those numbers. Obviously, everything's going to probably come back in 2 months or perhaps longer. So we have some time. I don't know if we want to set up an ad hoc with a single commissioner or what we're going to do to try to expedite it. But for this page, is there any willingness from the commission to increase these numbers as far as the amount and type of review that they need? Because building a barn, 50,000 square feet isn't much.
Well, see, that's the thing. It really does depend, in my opinion, I shouldn't be talking first, but in my opinion, that won't stop me. In my opinion, there is a difference between, as you say, a barn, where I would not have a problem with increasing these numbers, and a structure other than that, an office or something like that, where I would have a problem with increasing these numbers. So I think I would want to have some delineation some discrimination between those types of usage if we were to increase these numbers somewhat.
Okay. Is there anyone else that wants to at least look into it and perhaps direct staff to look into further delineations?
I do.
And I do too.
Okay. So there's a consensus to,
When we get to the commission's recommendation, if you can establish an ad hoc as a commission. It just can't be more than 2 members total. And so if that was going to be part of the motion later, if you could include that, thank you.
Okay.
okay. So we're going to have a long motion because I have a lot of issues. Page 193, under modifications, it's a question or a comment, I don't know. At the bottom, changes to an approved major or minor development plan review, which are in the director's discretion, not major, may be approved by the director. That's kind of a lot of leeway, isn't it, without involving the planning commission again? Because if the director could overstep what they should be doing, where does that leave the planning commission with its review? It seems like it gets sidestepped. Is there any refinement to that language that would have a little more control over the director?
One thing you can consider, in that section or close to that section, it talks about that however project was entitled. So if that was at the director's authority to be entitled, then that would be how a modification could be done. Or if it was approved as a conditional use permit at a planning commission level, then it would be at that level that a modification would be done. So we could tune that language to be how it was entitled.
Okay, I'd like to get consensus before I move on from the planning commission, whether or not we not give the director wide discretion on making changes, because we run into issues historically.
I don't think it should be the director's opinion. I don't think it should entirely be the director's opinion. Nothing against the director. It just shouldn't be entirely a matter of opinion.
I wholly agree.
I agree.
Page 198, under F, conditions of approval. In approving a conditional use permit, the director may impose reasonable conditions or restrictions. Directors don't approve conditional use permits, correct? Am I missing? I was confused by that. Isn't that the planning commission?
Administrative,
CUPs?
yes, so we can update that language.
Okay. I was just confused. Next page, 199, reapplication for denied conditional use permit. There was some language on 173 that I thought we might stick in there. It was all the red line on item number 7, denial by the approving body. Would it make sense to stick that language in that section?
That or reference the previous section.
Oh, either way, I would like to, I think that it
Yeah,
gives us.
the problem that I have with repeating language is if you repeat it in multiple places, then it tends to get out of sync over time. So it's better, in my opinion, to have a reference.
Okay, then I would like to reference, if I have the consensus of the commission, to reference under M, reference the language that's on our page 173, number 7, denial by approving body.
I agree.
Almost missed one.
So you would reference, on N, you would reference
That language.
page 173, number 7,
Well, it
whatever.
wouldn't be page 173, whatever
Right.
the page is, yes, it would reference that.
Okay.
In the tables, I guess it could be on page 232. I couldn't find an ag tech or ag manufacturing column that's an allowed use on ag.
232.
I mean, if we're trying to embrace our ag sector, I think allowing the manufacture or whatever of such technology, I think it would benefit us. Because right now we don't embrace a lot. So I think that we should add a column for whatever you want to call it, ag tech or ag manufacturing as an allowed use, to try to encourage to bring such jobs to our county, and hopefully the sales tax wouldn't hurt either.
Yes, and that is consistent with the general plan. There's a policy related to industrial uses for ag.
So is an allowed use? So can we add the table to make
It's a
it?
general plan policy. I forget the exact language, but it would be consistent, so that would not be a problem to add.
Okay, if there's consensus from the planning commission, okay. Page 236 of the packet, renewable energy generation on ag, it says allowed. Along with the bottom of the table, along with the batteries, I think I don't want to ban anything, but I'd like to have some oversight over it as a CUP or something. I don't think prime farmland or farmland of local importance should be destroyed for the sake of saving the earth. I think we need to put a little more thought into it.
Yeah, so we can look at adding into, I believe it's 2507 section, there's a renewable energy section, so we could add additional development standards in there. And we can work on
And
developing those.
Leslie's letter, that's part of the public record. And I like her building the CUP framework, citing the various safety rules that would prevent another Vistra, disallowing it on prime farmland, and I'll add farmland of local importance. The protections for noise, traffic, et cetera. The gentleman on the Zoom, his suggestion about using skilled local labor, I think that's fantastic. And if it has to be through an ordinance, I'd like to see some taxation on the generation and storage. I'd also like to see some sort of standard reimbursement for fires, since our existing solar farm is probably costing us more than we're getting in the long run with the fires that continue to happen. And I'd also just like to see a local preference for the use of the juice, if that's possible. Page 238, since Carson and Jason are here. The minimum lot size, it's still in there as 160, 40, 5 and 5. I think with the board and their new committee that they created with the realtors and developers and those that are on all sides of that fence, I think they're going to take a look at it. So I don't know if we should be sending these numbers through to the board about the new
Right,
minimum lot size.
they're gonna make changes to that for sure.
We already covered transitional housing. I asked about it because there was a uproar in Monterey, but apparently the state doesn't allow us to have any control over that. So if there is ever is an issue, I hope the county explains to the people that that's the state and they know best. Oh, that covered that. The next section or the next page. Going back to Jason's concerns, I had the same ones. Page 296. All new housing structures shall include battery energy storage. Housing, the cost of housing in California is insane. And adding another $40,000 or $50,000 doesn't make sense to me. It's a lovely idea, but I don't think it's practical because the developer's not going to absorb the cost. It's just not going to happen.
I think that number is really high. We didn't pay anywhere near that for our battery storage. Granted, we have a really small house, but I admit there is a cost, but I don't think it's that high.
I just have a concern mandating it. Even if it's $10,000, I don't think it's up to the county or the state to tell somebody that they have to
It's
have it.
totally not fair to
100%
mandate
agree.
it, I think.
No,
You know,
you
I
can't afford
would,
it.
we have a solar system in our house, but I chose not to have the battery storage for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
So I think mandating it is a mistake.
Yep. And then, so that's I. And then going to the next page, J. What does that entail and what does that cost and what is the benefit? I have concerns about all these things. J, also K. As long as it's not a mandate, I guess that's kosher. L, all fences shall be blocked. I think that's ridiculous. And I also have issues with mandating a sidewalk on the side yard. I don't think so. I don't know who came up with it or why, but I would disagree with the premise.
It's within your discretion to remove
Yep.
any of those items.
I think, is there consensus to remove all those that mandate anything?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So do you know which was I
It's
just as soon strike them all, really.
IJK.
LM,
Yep.
H, and I. All building
Yeah,
structures shall include
HI.
batteries. Anything that's in red, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, actually, you make it easier. Strike it all.
Strike it all.
Because you're going to have to follow the laws. If the laws say you're going to have to do something, you're going to have to do it. But we don't need to add to the burden. We already do enough.
I would support removing the all fences shall be finished block walls, removing the paved sidewalk. I would not support removing the battery storage. I would not support removing the gray water. I would not support removing the electric vehicle charging stations. I just want to go on record for that. I realize I'm in the minority.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Going to page 302, I also share the concerns with the practicality of requiring the commercial. And I don't know what the number would be. I think perhaps the county, whether it's the ad hoc or staff, work with developers or people that are in the know to figure out what number would be appropriate before we start requiring the 5% commercial. Because like the public speaker said, it doesn't make sense at 5.
I was totally blown away by that.
So we'll probably continue this thing until at least October, so there's time to work with Jason and Carson and whoever else would be subject matter experts to figure out a reasonable number, if at all. But it's certainly not me, so.
Through the commission, you can form an ad hoc with 2 members. You can't have additional members, but you can, have meetings with individuals
Right.
as needed. So
Okay.
if that is the final
And
recommendation.
I'm almost there. Page 318, you had one that I missed.
No, you have them all so far.
There's this chart, and it says an uncovered patio, required interior side yard setback 4.5 feet. But then if you cover it, it's only 3 feet. I was just curious, that seemed backward to me. That if you're gonna have a roof on your deck, it should be further away from the side yard. But I was just questioning that.
I need to go back and double check building code on that. But if we're continuing, I
Okay,
can.
it just didn't
clarify
make sense
later.
to me, but I'm not an engineer. And then there was one big thing going to the ADUs, and I will provide you with the time on the last meeting. So at the meeting in June, at 2 hours, 46 minutes and some odd seconds, we got consensus to change under A for impact fees for ADUs. We had consensus of the commission, I think it was 4 out of the 4 that were present, to change no county impact fees shall be charged for an ADU that is less than 1,200 square feet in size. And under B, we put 1201, and it wasn't changed.
Apologies. We can correct that.
So I'd like to make sure that that's corrected, please. And that's all. Did I cover? I think I covered everything for now, unless I missed something. I hope not. Jason, throw something at me if I missed
Chair, if
something.
you don't mind, I have a question regarding
Sure,
the stand.
by all means,
Is that okay?
by all means.
What did you say the standoff was on a secondary building? 4 feet? Is that what you?
So, what I'm recollecting off the top of my head, but I didn't want to confirm, is with building code setbacks, generally there's a 5-foot setback. It can go down as far as 3, but then with fire, and I'm not the fire marshal, you have to increase the fire rating
Of the building?
of the building. And so I honestly have to go look at that section and double check with building code. I just can't remember off the top of my head.
But roughly, so from the primary structure, the secondary structure, you're saying you think it's 4 feet?
Generally, we have a 5-foot setback. I know that there's cases where you can go down as low as 3 feet, but then there's additional requirements required. So I just have to go look
Okay.
back at it. I apologize, I don't have it.
No worries. Is that unique to our county? I thought the building code said 10 feet setback on a secondary structure.
I can look. I can go back and look.
Okay. If you don't mind, and let me
Absolutely.
know.
I don't have the whole building code memorized. My apologies.
You should by now.
Oh, that was surprising.
Sorry, one more thing that
I'll let you do it.
I neglected to put on my packet. Page 199, expiration. No automatic expiration for a conditional use permit is imposed by the code. Is that standard? Because it seems like if you're going to approve something and it sits for 10 years, maybe conditions have changed, whether it's in the outside community or something. I would be curious if it would be prudent to put an expiration if they don't use it.
Yeah, so previously our code had a 1-year expiration, but you consistently had applicants not being able to, finance or do what they needed in 1 year. And so I believe it was in 2022, we removed it, that specific 1 year. But we can add in a time frame or put a 1 year and then require that they need to, provide some sort of documentation, needing additional time.
Maybe 5 years. If you can't accomplish it in 5 years, maybe it goes away. I don't want to be business unfriendly, but I also don't want to leave things out there.
You can't have an open-ended, it was 1 year, if I'm correct.
Yes, it was.
So now
At
to
one
say
point.
open-ended seems like jumping full in. Maybe there's something in between 5 years I'm okay with.
Yeah, the
And
pendulum.
and then there's also extensions, right? You can get an extension. There's no fee for that, is there?
No, and we could also include something where the applicant's required to do like an annual check-in.
I'm good with that, annual check-in.
But are you also good with a 5-year expiration if nothing has come of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there seems to be.
That's something we can
Okay.
add.
I'd even go a shorter time.
Well, is there an
3.
appetite to go less than 5? I don't want to go too short because I don't want to be anti-business.
Well, 5 years if they have to renew.
5
every
is
year, that
pretty
works for me.
generous. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
I think 5 is very generous, 5 years. If you can't get it together in 5 years, I think then,
Yeah.
maybe you should move on.
5 years with the yearly renewal. Got to come every year and renew it.
5 years with a
And
annual
if you don't do it in
check-in.
the 5th year, you're out.
That's a good add, though.
Another thing is you could build in that they could extend it, but they need to maybe come back through and request basically a modification. So going back to like our modification section of the code. And so kind of building it in, okay, it expires in 5 years, but you know, if you come back to planning commission and request that extension,
No, I don't want to quite go that far.
No,
I'm just providing
Yeah,
all
yeah.
options.
no, no.
We're wonderful, but we're not that wonderful. Okay, I'm done for now. Thank you.
Okay, so the only issues that I had really are around the battery storage. As other people have mentioned, and I've heard all the arguments, and most of the people that we've heard tonight, which is not necessarily representative of the community as a whole, but most of the people that we've heard tonight seem to be opposed to the outright ban on a number of grounds, both in terms of just the inadvisability of it from a technical standpoint, and on the grounds of the fact that the applicants are going to be able to evade is the wrong word, but get around it by going directly to the state anyway, and therefore we're going to lose local control. And based upon those couple of things, I'm inclined to, at least, as a minimum, we need more input from the public as well as from staff regarding what other counties have done and, what is the state of the science and, what other options are there for us besides an outright ban. So personally, I'd be inclined to defer this, to continue this particular item to a date certain. I'm personally not going to be here for the September meeting. I would be okay with having this heard in September in my absence, but I would also be okay with having it deferred until the October meeting. I don't know that there's urgency around this if we choose to continue it. It's possible also that there is no appetite within the commission for continuing it. But either way is fine with me. That's just my initial take on it. The other point that I wanted to make is we want to be careful to divorce this discussion from the particular applicant whose preliminary application came before us tonight during the initial discussion, because even if you are violently opposed to that particular application for whatever reason, this doesn't directly affect how you should feel about the particulars of the title that we're reviewing tonight, right? Because this title, this zoning title 25, affects all the applicants. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about how you want to vote on this. So I guess that's really all I have to say about this particular issue. So having said that, I guess, is there a,
Well, I forgot one more thing.
Go ahead, please.
I'd like to address nuclear.
Oh, yes, please.
Japan has come up with some things that'll fit in a cargo container, and I think for whether it's AI or cold storage or whatever, I think we need to at least take a look at it and address it and not ignore any option other than maybe windmills. Those things are hideous. But I think we need to explore all options because I don't think in the state of California, we should go through rolling brownouts or blackouts. It's just not acceptable.
I agree 100%. He took my thunder because that was going to be next out on my list. Nuclear, check into it.
Got it.
And I don't know if we needed to form an ad hoc, if anybody wants to, what's your thoughts?
Okay, tell me again in 25 words or less, or however many it takes, give me the purpose and nature of the ad hoc.
Well, the ad hoc would be more for energy, whether it's renewable and or nuclear, just to work with staff and stakeholders and whomever, just to try to button it down so we don't bring back something that looks like a denial and get everybody fired up again.
Right.
I don't like bringing ordinances that upset people unnecessarily.
Right.
In addition, I believe previously it stated to also look at the 5% commercial component aspect.
Yeah,
as
because
well.
that's what I thought you were heading towards with the ad hoc, and that's why I was a little bit confused, because do you want, you don't want a separate ad hoc
No,
for the commercial?
God, no.
You want one ad hoc,
We'll wrap all that in it too.
yeah.
Whoever wants to volunteer, Bobby.
Yeah, well, I'm very interested. Yeah, I'm very interested in the energy, less so in the commercial aspect, but being the chair, I'm not really. I mean, I'd be more interested in stepping back and letting others participate in the ad hocs unless there's no appetite for participation. But it sounds like you definitely have an appetite for.
I would prefer not, but I would like somebody to do it.
I'd have to check my schedule, but I'd be willing to participate in that.
Or both of you.
No, I don't think that can be the case, though. Can you have?
You can have two. You just can't have more than two members. Otherwise, then it triggers brownout committee.
Sure.
I mean, it's up to you to determine
Yeah.
who's on an ad hoc, so.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go ahead and create an ad hoc for studying the energy issues as well as the commercial in
5%.
the 5% commercial rule, or whatever percentage it turns out being. And initially, shall we appoint you, or do you want to wait until you can confirm availability?
I really need to wait to confirm to my availability.
Okay, well then.
Through the
Yes.
chair, just to clarify, when we do ad hocs, we ask for your schedule to schedule a meeting, and so it would be worked around your schedule.
I'm willing to do it.
Okay, well then, let's create an ad hoc. Let's appoint Commissioner Ringhayden and also Commissioner,
Way.
all right, myself then.
Okay, good.
All right. Commissioner Ringhayden and Commissioner Way to the ad hoc. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And is there a motion then to continue this item to a date certain?
I'd like to make a motion to continue this item.
With all the changes noted.
I recommend, since we do have to schedule ad hoc meetings, maybe the October.
Okay, so the motion is to continue this to the October regular meeting?
So unfortunately, I will be out of the country in October.
We
Thanks for
can
taking
create
me
a
with you.
special meeting and check in with the commissioner schedules for maybe in the month of October, a special meeting.
Okay, so to continue it to a special meeting during the month of October?
Correct.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Hearing none, motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Moving on to the regular agenda, item 8. Before we move into item 8, it is now 8:14. Does anybody want a brief break before we move into the regular agenda? Yes, okay. Let's take a 10-minute recess. Thank you very much. We are in recess.
Where are you going?
Okay, folks, 10 minutes has gone by rather quickly, so let's reconvene. Let's get this show back on the road here. We are reconvened at 8:25, and let's proceed with our regular agenda. Regular agenda item 8.1, Resource Management Agency, receive presentation on nonprofit affordable housing and farm worker housing development and participate in discussion with nonprofit affordable housing developers. Thank you.
Is my mic not on? Okay.
there we go.
Hi, again, Stephanie Rex, Senior Planner. I'm here to provide you with the presentation that was given to the board in May, I believe. And with me today, I will have through my phone, Jeffrey Morgan, President and CEO with CHISPA, and Felix Young, the VP of Business Development for MidPenn. So they will be supporting in this presentation today, and they will call me when it's ready for their turn. Okay. So first, we will start with an overview of the California Department of Housing and Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery, otherwise known as the CDBG-DR. So this grant was allocated to California for 3 federally declared disasters, which covers the San Benito County, and was for the flood that occurred back in March of 2023, and others include floods that occurred in San Diego and for the Hoopa Valley tribe. But a total of $416 million was allocated for these eligible communities. So HCD conducted an extensive amount of engagement with local government partners. They held a minimum of 3 rounds of meetings to explain the program, provide data exchange, and receive recommendation. They mentioned that they were appreciative of Enrique Areola and Ramon's contribution to this process. HCD coordinated with state-level agencies who are mandated to do this as part of the CDBG-DR implementation and planning. They are also connected with local nonprofits, including disaster case managers, to determine what the unmet recovery needs from the disasters that still exist in these communities. Unfortunately, through the process, that identified that there's a need of $1.5 billion for unmet recovery, and they only have $416 million for support. So the public input proposed for these recovery programs created an action plan that went to a 30-day public comment period that ended in the middle of April. So they identified housing program as the largest need, and there are 3 components to this program. They allocated $155.6 million to construct new deed-restricted affordable rental housing, $52.8 million to rehabilitate or reconstruct owner-occupied homes that were owned and occupied as the primary residence at the time of the disaster, and $14.6 million for first-time homebuyer down payment assistance programs that will allow renters to become homeowners and potentially move out of higher risk area into a lower risk profile area. So they allocated $142.4 million for infrastructure, $22.5 million for the Hoopa Valley and Tool River tribes, and $7.5 million for an insurance resiliency pilot program, as this is a topic in many communities. So next are specifics for San Benito County. With regard to multifamily rental housing construction dollars, this will be administered through regional set-asides where developers will apply to HCD for funding. San Benito County is part of a regional set-aside with Tulare and Tuolumne for $20.6 million. Projects within these counties will compete against each other, and you can see what the other regional set-asides are. Projects that would be eligible include supportive housing projects, senior housing projects, among others. And these are federal dollars, and there are enhanced requirements around the documentation of residency, but these are meant to serve some of the populations discussed. So regarding the infrastructure program, San Benito County received an allocation of $11.4 million for infrastructure projects. San Benito would submit projects to HCD where they will review alignment and eligibility with project and federal requirements, including NEPA, but it would be the county that selects the projects for submission. These projects can include infrastructure, roads, utilities, connection to housing, any project that is a public facility on public land, and that can enhance or support community development or reduce impact for future natural disasters. Okay, so regarding the insurance resiliency pilot program, insurance is a big topic. It's a regulated market that HCD does not have the ability to influence, but they are trying to identify pilot projects that can help fill insurance gaps, primarily for low to moderate income communities, LMI communities as they're referred to. There are a few pilot insurance projects that would scale up with other local governments to, for instance, provide insurance payments at the time of disaster without filling out paperwork. It would be basically a trigger payment policy. They have also proposed investing in reducing risks for LMI communities and quantifying the reduction to show insurance companies and get rates for reductions in those areas. So that's an overview of the CDBG grant. Sunny Flores, the director with CSDC, could not be here with us today, so I'm going to present his slides. So one of our local nonprofit developers is Community Services Development Corporation. CSDC is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation that has been operating in San Benito County since 1984. CSDC was started as a nonprofit with members of the Board of Supervisors from 1984, as they saw a need for affordable housing in the county and wanted to meet those needs. Over time, CSDC's boards has changed, but the purpose has not. They only serve San Benito County, and their purpose is to provide affordable housing to low and moderate income residents. They primarily meet the need for low to moderate income through for sale self-help development. They meet the need through very low through affordable rentals and the need through extremely low through Section 8 rentals. They also have an MOU with a private developer to qualify and select moderate income home buyers for workforce housing units. So CSDC has always been a partner to San Benito County through different programs. They managed the emergency housing through the use of emergency services grants in partnership with Community Services and Workforce Development, CSWD, and Health and Human Services, HHSA. They currently manage temporary housing for very low income, which provides 2-year rentals in 2 to 3 bedroom family units located above the Migrant Center and leased from the county. Since 2015, they provide lease management for the Helping Hands program with CSWD and HHSA, funded through the Continuum of Care, the COC, to house homeless and disabled individuals. They also partnered with the county to complete Riverview 1 and Riverview 2. Riverview 1 consisted of 56 units, half moderate for sale, half self-help for low and very low. Riverview 2 consisted of 24 self-help units for low and very low. They had over 700 applicants apply in this lottery, but only 24 local and qualified residents were selected. So in working with the county, they have been successful in partnering on a grant and receiving home funds to provide $1 million in first-time home buyer assistance for that Riverview 2 self-help project. Through the use of the home funds, the county funded the purchase of homes at Toro Plaza for CSDC to operate as affordable housing, for which CSDC has loans that they pay back to the county. They work with behavioral health through the Bridge Housing Program to lease units to their clients. They believe that in moving forward, it is important to partner with the county, and they would be happy to work with staff to identify projects in the pipeline and any available funding. CSDC would like to continue discussions with the county and work to partner on affordable housing support programs. Okay, so we're going to move into Buena Vista. Jeffrey, if you could please give me a call now. Chispa. Hi, Jeffrey, is that you?
Yes, that's me. How are you doing today?
We're doing good. We can hear you.
Great. Okay, so I just muted everything on the other line. My name's Chef Morgan. I represent CHISA. We've been serving San Benito, Santa Cruz, and Monterey County for 45 years. We've built 2,500 units of housing in the area, and of those, 1,000 of them were for sale homes, self-help housing, and USDA 502 loan housing for farm workers. In addition to that, we built rental housing, and you see some of the examples of that here. 2 examples are Buena Vista, which is our multifamily housing community, which you see has 41 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units that was completed in 2017 using tax credits. So that the low-income housing tax credit program is the most successful affordable housing finance program in U.S. history. Millions of homes have been built with it. And with the recent federal budget, the program has actually been expanded. So some of the provisions that were included
in the latest budget could build up to an additional 1 million units in the U.S. Through something that was called the Affordable Housing Credit Improvement Act. And we've worked with a lot of different kinds of sources. You'll see Mental Health Services Act, so we're helping some folks that had mental health issues. And also we do a lot of work around sustainability with solar panels, et cetera. Next slide. And this is a little bit of our construction. You can see that we do all the typical methods there. We have our own general contractor entity, Central Coast Residential Builders. Those big yellow things in the upper sort of center right side are actually stormwater retention systems that were built inside the site to comply with stormwater retention rules. And you can see us going about doing our great work. Next slide. Sunrise is our senior community. So every now and then I'll be coming down your way to go to a holiday party with some of our residents. We have very active programming with not just the seniors, but with families. We have roughly 50 different service partnerships that are tailored for each community. So, for example, we'll have after-school programs, financial literacy. We'll also work with Meals on Wheels and other programs to keep our residents independent and thriving. Next slide. And this is just a little bit more of some of the construction work that we've had underway. So it's a privilege to continue to serve. I just wanted to say that we'd be happy to invite any of you to join me. You can get a hold of me. I'm at gmorgan@chispahousing.org. If anyone is interested in taking a tour of one of the communities with me or talking about some of the other opportunities that we've looked at in San Benito County, I'd be happy to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Okay, now we're going to move over to Mid-Penn. Felix, if you could please give me a call. Hello, Felix.
Hi.
We can hear you.
Excellent. Thank you. Hi, my name is Felix Aoyang. I'm the Vice President of Business Development at Mid-Penn Housing. I know you have a long agenda tonight, so I'll keep this short. You may have heard of Mid-Penn. We are a large regional nonprofit affordable housing developer and property management company. We have been around since 1970, so 55 years. Over that time, we've built 137 communities and 10,000 homes in 12 Bay Area counties, including one community in San Benito County, as well as a number of properties in Santa Cruz and Monterey, nearby Santa Cruz and Monterey counties. We have a pretty robust record of getting 26 projects fully financed since 2020. As Jeff mentioned earlier, primarily we're going through the low-income housing tax credit program with the state as the backbone of that financing. Next slide, please. So for us, we have our own in-house property management company. There are 4 core values that we hold for our management: being good neighbors, enhancing residents' lives, implementing sustainable operations and maintenance, which include actually solar panels and reducing our utility costs, and then serving diverse populations and meeting their needs. Next slide, please. We also have our own in-house resident services program that are divided into 3 divisions depending on the population that we serve. So at our family properties, we offer family-related services, including after-school programs for kids. At senior properties, we focus more on health and well-being. And then at our special needs properties, we connect permanent supportive residents with the services that they need to stabilize their lives, improve on their well-being. Next slide, please. And I just, I think, I don't want to go through this slide, but I want to say that we've partnered with many public jurisdictions, and each case is unique, but we are transparent and collaborative, and we will try and brainstorm and problem solve for the situation that the jurisdiction might be in. In this particular case in Sunnyvale, Sunnyvale is out of public lands and needed more land to develop affordable housing for their community. And the PEN was able to collaborate with them to really go after a site on the market and act quickly, take down that site, and then work with the city to essentially eventually have that purchase price be transferred back to the PEN, and then having the city actually own the site and then ground leasing it back to the PEN for development. So there's a lot of trust in the way we work with public jurisdictions. And just to say that, if you have an idea, we would love to hear it and see if we can be a part of helping you with executing that vision. So Jeff and I are both going to be here for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Felix. I will call you back when there's more questions. Okay, so finally, I'm just going to cover a few of the wonderful things that Community Services and Workforce Development, otherwise known as CSWD, does for the county. So they believe there is power in establishing positive relationships with local, state, and federal partners. For the last 30 years, Health and Human Services, HHSA, and CSWD, which is a part of HHSA, has secured over $30 million for different programs serving the community. Some of these partnerships are for farm worker housing. They received over $4 million in the early 2000s from HCD for the farm worker housing program. They built beds for 272 seasonal farm workers. They also partnered on a project for migrant housing, including 67 homes and wraparound services for 250 individuals. What you see here are general expenditures for these and other programs across the 2024 calendar year. Other programs include the tenant-based rental assistance, otherwise known as TBRA, hotel vouchers, home key grant for the 11 supportive housing units at the Migrant Center, the Home Resource Center, and the Transitional Housing Program. So again, CSWD believes in the power of partnerships, or they would not be able to successfully implement these programs.
I just have a question on that slide. Are the transitional housing, the tiny homes, are those occupied? Are they?
They are not. They're still under development, and per these state rules, they all have to be complete and approved before final occupancy will be issued. So they're still working through some of their building permit items.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and that's the end of my presentation. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I can get Jeffrey and Felix back on the phone if you have any direct questions for them.
Great, thank you.
Question.
Other questions?
You said that you won't get occupancy until 100% is done?
Just for the migrant center units, the tiny homes, because those were funded through a state home key grant, and there are specific requirements that you have to follow through that grant. So there are going to be 4, I believe, transitional housing. I know HHSA is trying to also implement permanent supportive housing there. That would be a slight change to the contract with HCD, and I think they're working through that. But we cannot house people in any of the units until the entirety of the project is complete. And those are part of the rules written into the home key grant that we received.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions from the commission? No. Public comment on this
There
item?
is Daniel. Are you still with us? Come on up. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Daniel Alvarez. I'm an organizer on the local 405. I just got transferred to this area, so I'll be coming to your meetings. One of the biggest challenge for many of us as carpenters is the commute, right? A lot of members from here, from Hollister, drive all the way to San Francisco, Oakland, and the whole Bay Area. You know how traffic is. It takes a lot of time for their families. They spend a lot of time stuck in traffic. That also makes the traffic even worse for everybody. So getting a responsible contractor building these projects will help not just the community, but the traffic for everybody and the quality of life for their whole family as well. Apprenticeship programs. We support apprenticeship programs because that will bring the next generation of carpenters on the trades to keep the trades going. Otherwise, who's gonna build all these communities, right? Fair wages. We don't want you know how expensive everything is. Everything is really expensive right now, and we just support livable wage. And that will be it, pretty much. We just want a responsible contractor to build these communities. And have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was my only public speaker card, and there's no hands via Zoom.
Okay. Is there any discussion of this item? No. Okay, just an informational item.
Yes,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item 8.2, which is the periodic compliance review of, this one is for Fairview Corners, and I'm hoping that you guys are going to walk us through this because this is a 10-plus-year-old development agreement. So, thank you.
Chairway, commissioners, staff, and members of the public, good evening. My name is Jacqueline Chan. I am a project manager and forward planner at DR Horton. We are the land developer and home builder for this project. So yes, this is a pretty old development agreement, so a little bit background on this. In October of last year, 2024, our land bank 4-star, where DR Horton, we purchased phase 1 of the Fairview Corners property from the original entitlers of Fairview Corners. As a result, we partially assumed this development agreement as it pertains to phase 1 of this which includes the development of 74 single-family homes. So what I'm speaking on would be within the scope of that phase 1 of development, which 74 single-family homes that we've assumed that portion of the development agreement for. So for the purposes of this presentation, to demonstrate compliance, I'll focus on the items under section 2 of the development agreement, which outlines the owner's obligations for this. And so I'll kind of walk through that and available for questions at the end. So this is a snapshot of where our land development is underway currently. This is only showing phase 1 with 74 lots located at 511 Fairview Road. And under the first section of owner's obligations, development of the project and project phasing, here are some key dates of subsequent approvals for the development agreement. In July of 2018, the vesting tentative map was approved. In September of 2024, the improvement plans of this phase 1 has been approved in accordance with the condition of approvals and a specific plan. So it includes infrastructure that's needed to support just the phase 1 lots. So that's, all your sewer, storm, detention basement, basins and facilities. And in December of 2024, the final map was approved and recorded for phase 1 of Fairview Corners to subdivide the property into 74 residential lots, common area parcels, which includes basins and common areas, and the remainder parcel that would be phase 2 of Fairview Corners development. So in section 2.3 and 2.4, kind of lumping these together as it pertains to open space requirements, satisfaction of park obligations, public trail network, and other recreational facilities. As part of the project requirements, we include pedestrian walkway paths, on-site active parks with play equipment, play lawn and benches in accordance with park requirements in this section. These plans has also been reviewed by county staff before we are beginning construction. Sections 2.5 and 2.6, coordination of road improvements and other infrastructure. 2.6 is design of project infrastructure. As I mentioned, the phase 1 improvement plans have been approved and land development is currently underway. The project is conditioned with off-site improvements, including frontage improvements on Fairview Road. So you're looking at your left side of frontage improvements on Fairview Road, as well as the widening of Cielo Vista Road. These are near completion, and we're continuing to coordinate with Gavilan College, which is to the south, to just minimize impacts on their campus. So don't have pictures for these points, but 2.7 project affordable housing obligations. We intend to satisfy the obligations through the construction of on-site dwelling units. So we've provided a development plan to show that these units do fit on the subdivided lots to review, and that will be how we're intending to satisfy the affordable housing obligations that's specific to this development agreement. With 2.8, there's a section on outreach to local subcontractors. Since I provided this presentation, we've already advertised a request for proposals from local subcontractors on Benito Link for vertical constructions. We are in the process of reviewing bid proposals. And then 2.9 covers any reimbursements or credits as a part of improvements. To date, there have been no reimbursements for the improvements that we're constructing. We have entered into a subdivision improvement agreement with the county for all of our offsite obligations, and in tract, of course, the offsite subdivision improvement agreement includes work that is associated with the Fairview Road frontage and Cielo Vista Road. And then 2.10 is speaking to habitat conservation. This development agreement is covered under number 6 of the conditions of approvals. In a little bit more detail, that condition requires habitat mitigation as described by the Fairview Corner Specific Plan Final EIR. As part of those measures, the project has obtained an incidental take authorization from both the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. As part of that, the Mariposa Peak Conservation Preserve has been acquired and fully funded to preserve a 329-acre mitigation area for California tiger salamanders. So this is as concise as possible how we have throughout the original entitlers have demonstrated compliance through going through the tentative map process, the improvement plans, checks with Public Works, and the recordation of the final map, which was, I believe, a consent item during that time. And as far as the other obligations that pertain to the home building and the actual construction themselves, we're continuing to comply with all of the condition of approvals per the tentative map, and our plan to build these accessory dwelling units as part of the affordable housing obligations. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Are there questions from the commission?
I won't say it's a question, it's more of a statement. You got this development agreement is a great deal for the developer. The county doesn't get really much of anything. It was a good score. Whoever approved this was asleep at the wheel. Usually when we give the developer when we freeze the rules for the developer, correct, we also freeze the impact fees essentially. Usually we get something in exchange, and we didn't. It's not your fault, obviously, but whoever approved this didn't do a very good job for the residents. That's all I have for now.
Other questions from the commission?
At this time.
On your ADUs, what size of a lot is that? You said that the ADUs would satisfy or would fit onto a lot or whatever. Is it like 2 per large family home, or how does that all
Yeah, I can speak to that. So, the ADUs, these are attached ADUs, so kind of like having, yes, so it would be part of, our production homes, which will have a kitchenette and then a separate entrance, a living space and a bedroom that is part of the house. So it would be one house that fits on, a subdivided lot. Yeah. I hope that answers your question, yeah.
It'd be on the same lot?
So it'd be like if my daughter bought one, I would be able to buy a home? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's still legally on one fee parcel, but then the home itself has a separate entrance and a
But
kitchenette
it's
and so on.
under the same roof as the single family home.
Correct.
It's connected, so you share walls.
Okay,
It's a JADU.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think I read something, and maybe I didn't, because I really only had an opportunity to scan this. There's a lot of paper here. I think I read that there was a formula to compute whether the affordable housing would be provided by means of secondary dwelling units, which I think means ADUs, or whether they would be provided in a more traditional way. And I guess the fact that, I'm assuming, and I guess I shouldn't assume, that the fact that you're intending to provide these by means of ADUs means that you've examined that formula and concluded that the ADUs are an appropriate and legal way to proceed under the circumstances. Is that correct?
Correct. I think during our feasibility process of this project, we've conferred with staff to verify that we are on the same understanding that what our proposed plan will satisfy this section of the DA, which is 10% of the 189 units of the entirety of the subdivision. And so for phase one, 78 units, there'll be 8. So we will be providing at least 8 of these units that will be satisfied through providing.
Okay, I know that that's an option in the county. I know that the county intends to, enable people to use ADUs to provide the affordable housing component of certain projects. And I'm not a huge fan of it, but it is an option, and you are entitled to make use of it. So, yeah, okay, thank you. That's all the questions I had. I guess we should
So,
open it up. Oh, I'm sorry,
To
go
be
ahead.
clear, to be clear, Commissioner Way can buy a home. And I can buy the ADU because affordable housing, or you have to go into, how does it make it affordable housing? I guess is what my question is.
You
I
rent
don't
it.
get how it makes it affordable housing when there's an ADU attached.
It's a rental.
I would rent it to you.
And because it's small, it's about 500 square feet, the rent shouldn't be much, hopefully, in
Oh,
theory.
okay,
Yeah, I could rent it to you.
okay.
It's California, come on now.
I understand your question though, yes.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
On the local contractors, is there a percentage of people that you have to get from the local contractors or construction companies? Or you don't have to get anybody from San Benito County if you don't want to?
No, the development agreement doesn't specify that, but so for us to do that, our means of complying is to advertise.
Just
Advertise and that's it, huh?
Just like Santana Ranch, you just have to offer them, and if nobody takes it, oh well. You can't force them.
Like you said, we really won this one, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, as you said earlier, they got a really good deal.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully moving forward, we want you to build and get a good deal, but we want a good deal for the people in the community as well. And so that's, I think moving forward, something we have to really be careful about.
Unfortunately, we
The
can't change
agreements
anything.
that we make have to be able to, for example, go up with the cost index and all these other things. We can't look back and say, wow, what a great deal they got, and we took it on the chin.
I do have one note for staff. There were conditions of approval. It's on the video that there were certain lots on the perimeter. I don't know if it was phase one and or phase two that were single story.
Correct. It is in phase two, and those are part of the record, and we've worked with county council on that aspect.
Just making sure those don't slip through the chasms.
Or
Thank you.
nothing goes through planning. Nothing
Okay.
gets missed, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, shall we open up for public comment?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Oh,
Seth,
is ready.
just approach the podium.
Thank you. I just wanted to follow up briefly on the questions that the commissioners had about ADUs. And as Commissioner Gibson said, compared to maybe what's happening now, there weren't a lot of strong conditions put on this project, but I'm concerned about ADUs that there's no obligation to rent them. So in this case, it's part of the house. Someone could punch a door through and just make it part of the house, and it wouldn't serve affordable housing at all. And there isn't any obligation if they do rent them to lower income families. It's true that they're small, but the way our real estate market is, that doesn't mean they're going to be cheap or necessarily affordable to low income families. So I'm glad that the commission and the board are moving towards some more realistic ways of, if we're going to allow ADUs to meet affordability requirements, that we make sure that they really end up being rented to affordable families. Thank you.
thank you.
I have no more public speaker cards or hands via Zoom.
Okay,
I
discussion within the commission.
just wanted to thank you for being patient with us. It's been a long hearing.
Knock down a wall and put a door in and
Is your mic on?
I don't know what the parameters or what the rules would be about knocking down adding a door and taking away that. And then, as pointed out, you don't have to rent it. You could just, there's some concerns.
Well, at the time this was approved, the board had just rescinded all the rules. So
Yeah, I saw
This is
that.
basically the Wild West.
I saw
At the
that,
time this was
yeah.
approved, so we can't really hold them to anything.
We can't. And so it is what it is.
Yes.
And this isn't the organization that originally negotiated the development agreement either. So, everything has changed since way back when. Yeah. It is what it is, as they say.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
So I will move to approve as per staff recommendation.
is there a second?
Second.
I guess something like this, we should do a roll call.
Oh, got it. Vincent Ringhayden,
Yes.
Commissioner Way,
Yes,
Robert Scagliotti, sorry, I don't mean to keep switching.
Yes.
Robert Gibson,
Yes.
and Bobby Thomason.
Yes.
That is a 5-0 to approve the resolution.
thank you. Moving on to item 8.3, which is a request for a periodic compliance review of the Panoche Valley Solar. So can we have the information on that, please?
Yes, just a moment. I'm needing to send the applicant the Zoom link to get on.
And my phone number so they can call in.
It's just a minute. I recommend, let me send it to them and then let's maybe continue to the next item and then come back while they get logged in.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the next item and then come back to this item. So the next item is 8.4, which is the presentation on San Benito County Comprehensive Climate Action Plan, Roadmap Measures and Actions. So let's go ahead and move into that, please.
I am giving that presentation. Can I have just a few minutes?
Sure. Yeah, we could, theoretically, we could continue the climate action presentation. We could easily continue. The things that require action, I'm less inclined to continue, but,
Continuing it anyway, Pinoche?
well, are we?
I believe we are.
Are we going to end up continuing the Pinoche, do you think?
We will need to.
We will, based on,
There is an active notice of violation that we're working through on that particular development and Commission.
can you get a little closer to the microphone?
Oh, my apologies. There is an active notice of violation on this project, and they have conditions of approval that we are still working through. So it would need to be continued either way.
Chair,
Okay.
are they allowed to share what the violation is?
I don't know. Are they allowed to share what the violation is, Sean?
There is limitations to what can be shared on code violations.
Okay, fair enough. All right, just knowing that there is a notice of violation is probably enough for us to move forward with continuing the item then. I guess, is there a motion then to continue that item to a date certain, or?
Do we need public comment on it?
Oh, yes, do we need public comment? We probably do, right?
There is no public comment in chambers or via Zoom.
Okay, then public comment is closed.
What date are we continue, are we gonna do a
Right.
special meeting to tackle this thing? Because it's probably gonna be a painful, long meeting.
That is up to your discretion.
I think we should personally, so that we're not dragging another meeting out until 10 PM, because there's a lot of things to discuss, I think.
Staff can work with the commission to get a date scheduled after the meeting.
Yeah, let's do that.
So we're gonna-
Let's do a special meeting on
Gonna
this one.
continue it to a date uncertain then?
Yes, it's not something that was freelance noticed and requiring to be a date certain. We can just schedule. a
Okay,
special
I
meeting.
moved to,
fair
con-
enough.
well, we didn't, no, we did do public comment. So then I moved
No,
to,
we did.
we didn't?
We did, and there wasn't any.
Okay, so I moved to continue the item indefinitely.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion, the item is continued to a date uncertain. Okay, so that takes care of item 8.3. And do we want to deal with 8.4 tonight?
I don't think,
How long is it?
Alternatively, staff could just reach out to each of the commissioners on this item and get your feedback on the measures and actions and,
yeah, I have a lot of feedback.
Yeah. I think I would prefer to do that personally.
okay, we can schedule meetings on that and with our consultants, with Rincon, Teresa Segura and Ryan Gardner.
As long as whatever presentation you would have given us is also eventually posted publicly, since this would have been presented to the public here.
Yes, it is on the agenda, the PowerPoint presentation available, and anyone from the public is welcome to give me a buzz at any time, and I'm happy to get any of their feedback as well. You can also take public comment before we close and
Great.
take that tonight.
Okay, and is there public comment, or would there have been public comment on item 8.4?
Seth Capron.
I'll be brief. I was on the advisory council for Central Coast Community Energy for a number of years, and it was always embarrassing for me when the annual reports came out. San Benito County was not taking advantage of the many programs that 3CE is. And when you read through the climate action report, you can see that a lot of the work staff has done is in coordination with 3CE staff, at least on the renewable energy issues and electrification issues. And particularly on electrification, there's funds available for the county to be electrifying our own fleet. So I just encourage the commission and the board as this moves forward, a lot of this work that we're trying to do in terms of climate needs to happen at the local level. And San Benito County, hopefully we can start stepping up. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there additional public comment?
There's no more public comment in chambers or via Zoom.
Thank you. Moving into commissioner announcements. Are there commissioner announcements?
There was something, but I can't remember it.
Okay, I have a couple of things. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. What? Oh, okay. Okay, I have a couple of real quick things. I am going to be, I cannot attend the September regular meeting, so Commissioner Thomason will be chairing that one. Okay. I'm not sure if you're applauding her chairmanship or the fact that I cannot attend, but either way. I will be attending, nothing to do with that, but I will be attending the California County Planning Commissioners Association Conference at the end of October in Tulare County, in Tulare. In retrospect, I do not think it was a good idea, as I mentioned previously, to skip the July regular Planning Commission meeting. And going forward, we maybe should think long and hard about whether we really want to do that again, because that was part of what caused this one to run along. I think as a future agenda item, or at least as a roundtable discussion, we should be talking about undergrounding the utilities. I know I spoke with Colin a little bit about this offline, and he's thinking, and I'm kind of thinking as well, that, the only way that we're going to get these utilities undergrounded is to underground them. And maybe if you can't be undergrounding things, maybe you shouldn't be building out there. So I know that we have the option to have an in lieu fee where you can contribute money to undergrounding utilities elsewhere in the county, and we need to at least be enforcing that. And in some cases, we've even waived that, I think. I'm not sure. We'd have to go back and look at the record. But bottom line is, I think we need to be a little bit stricter about enforcing our undergrounding. And I know, especially with regards to all the fires that have happened recently, and, we're all especially cognizant of fire. 3 of us, in fact, participated in the safety element meeting last night. It was not a Brown Act violation. We didn't talk about anything related to the Planning Commission. Anyway, I'm kind of babbling, but I'd like to see an agenda item come back to us at some point. I'll talk further with staff about this, just to kind of get a discussion going around what changes could be made, maybe to some of our ordinances regarding utilities and where they should be undergrounded, what we can do when it doesn't make sense to underground them in certain places. And I agree, there's no point in undergrounding 3 poles and then have nothing undergrounded for 5 miles in either direction, but there's got to be some happy medium too. So anyway, enough on that subject.
I'll second that discussion. I might not agree with it, but I'm open to a discussion.
Yep.
Sure. Can't hurt.
Yep. And I think that's all I had. And so unless anybody else has any announcements, I think we are ready for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Okay, any opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Very nice.